Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Morino Ravenberg here again. This is a new live stream, as you can see, or as you can tell. Hold on for a second. It's Sunday. I've noticed that Sundays are, to be honest, the best days for live streaming. So, hence me being here and hence me doing that. Just give me a second to get things started. Let's give me a second here. Just give me a couple of seconds. Live streaming can always, adjusting live streaming settings can always be a bitch. Yes. Okay, yeah. Yeah, and now again. I am on air, yeah. Live streaming settings can be such a bitch. In any case, yeah. I'm back and this is live stream number 4. Like I said, the chat bar, hello to all of you again. Hello to everyone out there. I hope everyone is doing okay and having a pleasant Sunday. Yeah, Homer Simpson says, good to see you again. Yeah, good to see you too again, man. So yeah, I thought after publishing my video yesterday that it was a good idea to start a live stream again. But to be honest, this was more of a spur of the moment kind of live stream. This was not a live stream this was a spur of the moment live stream, not a live stream that I thought about hosting beforehand. I just thought to myself, hey, since today is Sunday, and I'm free, then yeah, why not host a live stream? And yeah, like I said, I'm going to talk a bit about the new course that I put out. It's an e-astrological course. And this course is simply, as the description states, it's a simple course in astrology that I put together, and it wasn't easy to put together. It is pretty much a step-by-step program on how to master astrology, specifically natal astrology, relocation astrology, and horary astrology. So yeah, hence that. And I literally just, metaphorically speaking, hold your hand while guiding you through the process. And the course in total is $1,500. That includes the astrological software you'll be needing. The software itself is under $400, and it's over 5 hours worth of course material, like I mentioned, video material. Aside from that, I also include general course material in the way of documents and all of that. These are all things that you'll be needing, of course, to be able to master astrology and work with astrology effectively. And that even is, let's just say, roughly estimated $200 at least. So the price of $1,500 is more than fair. For people that aren't familiar with this yet, I'm just going to add this. I'm just going to add the link in the chat box. Hold on. This is for people that haven't, for people that are simply not familiar with it. Just give me a second. Ignore my ringtone, my cell phone, my mobile tone in the background. Give me a second, and yeah, that is the link to the course in the back. That's the link to my e-course. So yeah, aside from that, people are more than welcome to ask me questions, to ask me general questions. I do need to put this out to a couple of people. Just give me a second, and I will share this live stream to with people, because some people are completely unaware of the fact that I'm live streaming. These are people specifically that aren't subscribed. And I've told people to click the bell icon if you want to get subscribed. Okay. Okay. And yeah, just give me a second while I share all of these streams. Okay, I am on it. Let me see if there's anyone else I missed. No, that's pretty much everyone. Homer Simpson, feel free to drop any questions you have, assuming that you have them, or if you have any. So yeah, just let me know and you'll hear it. And yeah, in any case, relating to the course consists of things like, yeah, Magic Sleep says hi, man. Hi to you too, Magic Sleep. Yeah, like I said, the course material. The course material includes documents that denote everything on planetary aspects, what planets and zodiac signs mean, you name it. In total, let me check. The course material contains, aside from the software, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. It contains 7 PDF documents and an image file, then in which everything is explained and whatnot. Okay, and it is in the video material that I walk you through it. I even, generally speaking, discuss how to install the software and how to adjust general settings to optimize things for yourself. Again, this live stream is not just going to be about this. Okay, anyone is, it's like my usual live streams. You can drop questions if you have, and I'll do my best to answer them. If you have any questions whatsoever or any questions at all, whether it be personally, from a personal perspective, so relating to me, to my personal life, as well as general occult subjects as a whole. um, the and yeah, in any case, relating to the e-course, if you were to order, it would simply look as follows. I'd send you 2 links. One link is for the course material that you'd have to download. It's 85 MB in size, and the other one is for okay. Someone just woke up. Lazaro LG said, "Oh shit, I just woke up." LOL. Okay, it's 9:51 in my location, so in Europe it is already afternoon. I think around 2ish or 3ish. And in the US differs, but it's already 10, 11 in the US, you name it, 10 a.m. In any case, yeah, still, again, pleasant Sunday to everyone. And the course material, in any case, it contains, the course material contains 2 links. So if you were to order, I'd send you 2 links. The first one, like I said, you'd have to download it. That simply contains all the documents, the PDF files that I mentioned. The second one is a playlist. So I just already uploaded it to YouTube and everything, but it is private. So that means only people that have the link, or better said, unlisted, only people that have the link will be able to have access to the playlist. And in the playlist, I, metaphorically speaking, hold your hand and I guide you through the process step by step. I simply recorded the screen. I have a screen recorder app and I simply record my own screen while casting a chart and while explaining everything in detail with the mouse cursor, which can be clearly seen. So what a planet, we're talking about the basics, someone that doesn't know anything about astrology, what a planet in a zodiac sign means, what an astrological house is, what this is, what that is, what the properties of all of these celestial bodies and whatnot are, and it just goes on. Okay. So yeah, that's what my e-course stands for, and that's what the course contains. And like I said, it's ridiculously extensive because, as you can conclude, it's not something that happens overnight. It's not something that happens overnight, to say the least. I, I kept each video as running time of each video as low as possible. So the average time is 15 minutes. The longest video I think is 36 minutes. But I deliberately did that because I know that people nowadays, including myself, have a short attention span. So people, they want things short and straightforward. So I pretty much discussed planet by planet, and I just divided all the material into bits and pieces instead of just making one long 5 hour long video. No, that's impractical and it's inconvenient. It would be inconvenient for any person watching it. It would still be doable, but this is better. It's easier. That's why it's compiled into a playlist by the same name, just simply an e-course on astrology. And yeah, I David B says, "Hey Morino, hello to you too." Hold on, Homer Simpson. I'll get to your question about elemental spirits in a second. Let me just finish off the subject of my e-course in astrology. So yeah, that's what it looks like. Okay, and you can expect to see everything moving around, etc. I literally explain everything. All you have to do, metaphorically speaking, all you have to do is follow my lead, follow my instructions, and you'll be good to go. In total, there are, I think, 19 videos or something. In any case, there are plenty of videos, and you can, and all of it has been ordered by number, numerically ordered. So numerically ordered from step one all the way until the last step. And I teach all three forms of astrology in it. But natal astrology is the longest one. That's what the majority of the course video, the course material video wise is like. Relocation astrology only takes up one video, and horary astrology takes up 3 or 4 videos. That's including examples. So believe me, this is literally the e version of me teaching stuff to people. It would be the same thing as if I were to give away a live class, then yeah, it would be the exact same thing more or less. The only difference is that I would the only difference is that I would you'll have to excuse myself, crap. Yeah, the only difference is that people would be how should I put this? Well, just give me a second. Oh, crap. I need to put my cell phone on vibrate because it's starting to annoy me. Yeah, the only difference is that the only difference is that I made this course especially for people that don't have the luxury of seeing me. If I were to ever, or attending one of my classes, better said, if I were to give away a course, whether it be in Europe or North America, you name it. Yeah, so that's it. Instead of seeing me in live person, this is just a remote version of seeing me. So after rounding off said course, you'd be proficient in astrology and you'd have the software on hand and everything. You'd be able to use this for the rest of your life. So a commenter of mine also said that, nah, he's familiar with solar fire software astrology, and he told me, nah, $1,500 is more than reasonable for 5 hours long of recording material and all of the rest. If someone thinks that this is expensive, then I don't know. Yeah, definitely. I keep the price very reasonable and very fair, and I'm not worried. I'm sure things will pick up. I only just released, so I know for a fact that things will pick up. Not to come off as cocky or arrogant or anything, but things should pick up by all means in terms of having this thing sell. Of course, I'm looking specifically for, aside from anyone that just wants to buy it, I prefer people that are serious and that will actually make use of the material. Okay, so that's it regarding the e-course. Homer Simpson is asking, can elemental spirits and weather spirits teach you how to control elements and weather? Yeah, that's pretty straightforward and obvious. Yes, that is the case. Elemental spirits and weather spirits can teach you how to control elements and weather. It's just that. Magic Sleep, again, welcome, and I'll hear it if you have any other questions. I'm seeing a couple of people that are new. PK Man is also asking something. Or not, he's making a statement. I saw a horn demon through my artwork, car alarms going off, car keys failed working. The entities had nightmares in my dreams. I could feel it as a dense energy, and my fiance woke up scared. Okay. I have no comment to that. David B says, in your astrology course, you teach Western astrology, right? Yes, exactly. I don't practice any other form of Western astrology. I only practice. I don't practice any other form of astrology. This is strictly Western astrology. So yeah, that's the system I work with and go by. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Marco Mar says, "Hey, I saw you subscribe, Marco Mar. That's what my cell phone notification displayed. So hello to you again. A pleasant Sunday to the people that just joined in. And again, just shoot if you have any questions. I am here regardless. And I have no idea how long I'll be hosting this live stream. I think I'll keep it going up until as long as people still have questions and as long as people are still active. That's it. Hold on for a second. Let me see. David B says, "Do you happen to know the difference between Western and Vedic astrology? I had a conversation and I've been told that Vedic is more deeper." Now, the person that told you that, David B, is biased to say the least. Western astrology, from a neutral perspective, is the most accurate and most practical. It's straightforward too. That's why Western astrology primarily is still popular. I have heard and met people that use Vedic astrology, but again, they're minorities generally speaking. And no, Vedic astrology isn't deeper. Vedic astrology, as far as I know, is more based on speculation, whereas Western astrology deals with facts. Okay. Let me see. PK Man says it said 492, 492, 492 is 15, is 15, is 15, 666. Can entities teach you codes? Yes, entities can teach you codes, but I have no idea what it's about. Again, I have literally no idea what it's about. So again, elaborate as much as you want, and I'll tell you when I have a subject, when I have a comment on it. But yes, entities can teach you anything, including code. So, assuming that what you're saying, that you're telling the truth, and that it's not a ruse or anything, then yeah, it's just. I honestly have no comment on it. Okay, if something like this happened to you, then it just happened to you. You need to tell me what exactly you want done, if you want help with it, or whatever it is that you're looking for in terms of an answer for me. David B says it can get a bit confusing because people look at Western and compare Vedic, and it really can bring so much confusion because then what to trust more. Yeah, exactly. I know back when I first started practicing astrology, no, Vedic didn't appeal to me. I'm Western in nature, so not from a biased perspective, just from a neutral perspective. I checked out Vedic, and it really did not appeal to me because Vedic is also a lot Eastern in nature and in terms of usage. So nah, I'm not gonna lie. I really do not want to practice Vedic astrology. So I just went for the Western, and I have no issues or no problems. Not kidding. All of my work, astrology comes heavily into play in all of my work. So I wouldn't be able to cope without it, to be honest. So, and it's partially, at the very least, partially the reason for my success. And aside from that, I'm also going to notify people of it right away since we're on the subject. This is my first e-course. I'm also intent on hosting or handing out another e-course. This will be an occult course. I came to the decision last night, and yeah, it's going to be similar to an astrological course, but instead of an astro course, it's going to be an occult course, and it's literally it is what it sounds like. It simply means that I will be teaching people how to practice the occult, by literally just giving them the material they need. We're talking about a list of entities, a list of spirits and their correspondences, a list of exercises on paper. We're talking about everything on paper, and I'll be showing people in a playlist, of course, a private playlist on what to do and how to do and how to practice these exercises. Let me know what you guys think about that. So it's literally the same as me giving lessons in real life, but it's the digital version for people that don't have the luxury of seeing me. So people will literally just have to do what I do and follow my instructions, similar to the astrological course, and you should be able to practice magic successfully. So it's going to be a general e-occult course on Western ceremonial magic. So everything's going to be included. I'm going to make a video in which I show people how to perform this ritual, how to perform that ritual, and everything. I still need to go into details. I still need to work out the details, but there shouldn't be any issues, and you guys will obviously notice it when I release a new video or publish a new video, and in which I simply will make the world aware of it, that I've published it, and that it will be for sale. It's going to be, I think, more or less the same in terms of pricing. It might be $500 more, I think. The e-occult course is going to cost $2,000, I think. So again, let me know what you guys think about that. David B is asking me, how exactly is it biased, or in what way is, I'm referring to Vedic astrology. I'm sorry, I didn't say that that it is biased. I'm saying that the people, generally speaking, that correct me if I'm wrong, but the people that practice Vedic astrology are more biased. Okay, Vedic astrology as a whole is it's Eastern in nature, whereas Western astrology is simply neutral from a neutral perspective. But Vedic astrology is more is literally just Eastern in nature. That's why you have people that primarily from the East that practice Vedic astrology. We're talking about people from India and whatnot, you name it. These kind of people practice Vedic astrology. But Vedic astrology is a lot of speculation, brings a lot of speculation about. And I'm more fact oriented. So Western astrology is the most practical and straightforward. I mean, it's the Western astrology isn't based on speculation. A planet is a planet, a zodiac sign is a zodiac sign. Your interpretation needs to be factual from a basic perspective. Only then can you continue with speculation. But like I said, I don't speculate. It's either right or wrong. Lazaro LG says, I recently just learned Vedic, but I thought I was biased following Western astrology. But Western astrology is more effective than Vedic, correct? Yes, it is more effective by far. How can I control the thought form? PK Man is asking me, why are thought forms more vivid and they seem to move more autonomously? Now, that's from your perspective. Thought forms are, from a neutral perspective, or in fact, not more vivid. They're no more vivid than any other spirit. So, if this is the case, then it's simply a personal matter. That means that it accounts, or it accounts for you personally. It applies to you personally. So yeah. Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second, guys. I have a text message I need to answer. Oh yeah, and let me see. PK Man is asking, is there a connection to Orion and the cult of KEK astrology? No, I'm sorry, I don't know what the abbreviation KEK stands for. Dorso, I thought Vedic astrology was proven more accurate on a scientific level. No, I have no idea where you heard that. Okay. But yeah, I also need to mention, if you go to look it up online, Western astrology is also discredited by scientists, not completely, but sometimes scientists they simply discredit Western astrology, but that's all bullshit. That's nothing, that's nonsense, absolute bullshit. Again, astrology as a whole by scientists is iffy because they simply deal with other matters, and astrology is not to be taken literally. Astrology focuses on the astral attributes, okay? So the spiritual attributes of physical celestial bodies. Let me see what else people say. PK Man says, Fat shit, Fidikans, ancient people. Lazaro LG says, what's up, Darsho? Good to see you online. David B says, also, there's a draconic astrology, even Kabbalistic astrology. And it's said that draconic is about spiritual. I'm not really sure about that. No. Okay, I'm familiar with the phrase draconian or draconic, but no. And David B says, oh, yeah, scientist. I was about to ask you because how would, let's say, defend astrology when someone is bashing it? I honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. I would not defend astrology. I mean, I would be willing to, but again, you can't speak to someone that is so stubborn, and that's what most scientists are. It's like trying to explain something to a donkey or to a dunce or an ass. You can't explain something to someone that is narrow-minded to the point that that person doesn't want to hear anything. I mean, if you're talking to someone and that person is like, I don't want to hear anything, then that's their problem. But again, that for that reason, I would not defend astrology. Okay, you don't need defending. It's similar to my occult practice. I don't need to defend my skill and to my practice to anyone. If someone it has the balls to ask me, I think there was recently someone that had the balls to ask me whether I was willing to do something as a means of proof. I told that person, no, I don't do that. You either place an order or you don't. I'm not here to convince you that magic exists and that the occult exists, etc., blah, blah, blah. No, 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 no. So, yeah. Uh, so, yeah, that is pretty much it. But no, scientists, you'll find a bunch of cockamamie articles out there, I think, or even the Wikipedia section of Western astrology makes brief mention that Western astrology has been discredited by some scientists, not proven wrong, but it's been discredited because they simply fail to see a literal connection. And obviously, that's not what astrology is about. Astrology is literally almost like the perfect fusion, or it's like the almost perfect fusion of science and magic, or science and the occult. When I'm referring to, for example, Mars in astrology, I'm not referring to the actual celestial body Mars. Even if Mars, for example, were to be destroyed by a giant asteroid, or it would just cease to exist for whatever reason, within astrological confines, Mars would still be there. That doesn't mean that Mars in astrology is all of a sudden going to stop exist, or when you cast an astrological chart, that all of a sudden you won't see Mars anymore. No, 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 no. When discussing when discussing astrology, okay, all the factors that come into play, specifically celestial bodies, the sun, the moon, Mars, and all of the planets that we know, you're not referring to them physically. You're referring to their spiritual counterparts. You're referring to the astral counterpart of the sun. You're not referring to the literally big ball of fire that sees the light during the day, and with the moon, the planet that sees to light during the night or during evenings, wherever it is that you live on Earth, as well as other planets that also cover those that are also covered by the sun and the moon. You're referring to the actual astral counterparts of these planets. When I'm talking about the sun, for example, the sun was in Libra when I was born. I'm referring to the astral counterpart of the sun. I'm referring to the Kabbalistic spiritual counterpart of the sun. That has definition. So even if the sun were to stop existing and everything just goes pitch black during the day, the sun would still be there astrologically speaking, because you're referring to, again, the astral counterpart and its attribute. The sun, generally speaking, stands for success, it stands for a quality of life, it stands for energy, it stands for health, it stands for all good things that you can think of, generally speaking. And it stands for willpower, energy, all of that. All of these attributes are astral attributes, so not literal attributes. That's something that people need to understand. So don't get them mixed up. Oh, Daru says, but Western astrology is based on the moon cycle or whatever, and the Vedic on the sun, or the other way around anyway. I don't remember, but the consensus agreed upon was that Vedic was the most accurate. Now, no. That's not true. Okay. Western astrology isn't based on any cycle specifically. No, every planet is important in Western astrology. Everything contributes as a whole. It's not just focus isn't just on one. The focus isn't just on one planet. No, 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 no. Oh, David B says understandable, but in science they did a research and made it like it is that it's just false. Also, comparing science and occult is nonsense. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Okay. When I said, again, don't misunderstand me. When I said that the occult and science is, that astrology is like a perfect fusion between the occult and science, by science, I simply mean technology. I mean science as in modern technology, electronics, and whatnot. Because believe me, back in the day, if you lived in medieval times, or obviously even before that, casting a chart would be a bitch. It would take literal weeks for you to cast a chart, because you'd have to do everything manually and by hand. It's like comparing counting with your hand versus counting on a calculator. I don't even have to point out how insurmountable the difference is, and how much technology has helped us. So by science, I mean technology when I say a near perfect fusion of the occult and technology, or better said, astrology and technology, astrology and science. I mean, technology by science. Um, Let me see. Understandable. Yeah, but like I said, David B. Yes, that's the way scientists are. Okay, scientists immediately, when it comes to anything occult-wise, they're immediately biased because they don't deal in that. Scientists have made it very clear that they're all about the literal. They're all about the tangible, what you can see, hear, and feel. So try explaining to someone like that what the occult is all about. Again, they're hopelessly biased and prejudiced, and to the point where they're like ostriches with their head stuck in the sand. And God knows I'm not here to convince anyone. Okay, you can think whatever you want to think. You can stay with your stupid way of thinking. I don't care. I'm open-minded. Okay, if someone can disprove me, then yeah, disprove me. But no, I no, I've worked long enough. It's been years that I've worked with astrology and Western astrology, and specifically the types that I've mastered for reasons that were most practical to me, especially horary astrology. And yeah, based on Darso, based on what you said, right, the whole cyclic thing in horary astrology, that's the only thing that comes to mind. In horary astrology, it is correct that yeah, moon cycles are of significant importance, but in actuality, that was the theory, okay? But in practice, no. Every planet pretty much matters in horary astrology. So that branch of Western astrology. Homer Simpson is asking me, can the angel Baraquiel teach you how to control lightning since he's appointed over the lightning, or is there a different spirit who specializes in this? I don't know. I'd have to look it up. Okay, I'm assuming that you took Baraquiel from what, the Book of Enoch or something. In any case, yeah, I did a video on weather spirits, and there are plenty of weather spirits that can do things for you. Okay, Shalgiel comes to mind. They were taken from the Book of Enoch. Matariel is also an angel that I also summoned a good couple of years ago. He also specializes in weather. But it all depends on what you want specifically. If you're looking for lightning specifically, then yeah, I'd consult the Book of Enoch, and I'd consult the Book of Enoch, and I'd see exactly which angel deals with lightning. Let me see. Dorsu says, hi Lazaro, good to see you too. PK Man says, shamanism is an ancient channeler. If so, why does being still move you away from your body? If in fear or excited, I move back into my body, astral projected. I keep seeing a cube with a red eye. I don't know about the cube with the red eye, but it's normal, okay? The closer your body, your physical body works like a magnet. The closer you are to your physical body, or if you just flip out in astral form, then you'll the chance of you moving back into your body or shooting back into your body is greater. So you need to be as far away from your body as possible, a good distance. We're talking about 5 meters to 10 meters. And in astral form, you should realize that no one can really hurt you, so you can just take it easy, because fear and excitement and general emotions are felt through your astral body, but they manifest through your physical body in the material plane. So your astral body automatically has the urge to shoot itself back into your physical body. So that's why. PK Man says the phone seems to burn images into my head. How can we know the difference between spirit seen in third eye or thought form? I'm sorry, I don't understand that question. You don't see a spirit just with your third eye, okay? A spirit is just a spirit that you can see. You automatically look at it with your third eye. That's your astral vision. And thought form is different. A thought form is just a thought form. Homer Spirit Source, he's simply adding to his previous statement. You retracted the other message. You retracted the other message of you too. The other message that you asked. I'm sorry, Homer Simpson. I don't get even why you're retracting your messages. I don't mind, but I don't know why you're retracting your messages, because you even retracted the whole lightning message. Homer Simpson says spirits such as Thor or Zeus. Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah, I understand based on the reference, the lightning reference, why you would think that these spirits can help you with lightning. But no, in reality, I've covered both of them on my channel, and no, They don't specialize in that. The whole lightning was just a metaphor for power and whatnot, because they were seen as sky gods, if you will. But that doesn't mean that they specialize in teaching you lightning or weather anomalies. Lazaro LG says, if I remember correctly, just because your sun sign is one zodiac sign doesn't mean you are that zodiac sign as an overview, depending on a planet's placement. Correct? Yes, that is correct. The sun was in Libra when I was born, aside from Mercury. Those are the only two planets I have in Libra. The average person loves saying that that you're either this, I'm a Gemini, I'm a this, I'm a that. People are so stupid. Okay, people are so dumb when it comes to stuff like this. That means that the sun was in that zodiac sign when you were born. In my case, coincidentally, I do happen to be a real Libra because the sun, the moon, the sun, Mercury, and midheaven were in Libra when I was born. But even then, it's only the secondary most, the second strongest influence in my chart. Scorpio wins out in the end. Let's just say it's so close, okay, that if I were to attach a percentage to it, the Scorpio influence in my chart is, let's just say it's 51%, and Libra is 49%. And a couple of people have told me that too, because they asked me, hey, are you a Scorpio? Because your behavior reminds me of Scorpio, the intensity and everything. And I was like, yeah, my real zodiac sign is Scorpio. Libra comes in second place. But you can also see Libra as your true zodiac sign. I'm complicated when it comes to that. But on paper, in the end, Scorpio barely edges out Libra. So yeah, that's that. Okay. So if someone, for example, I'm going to give you another example. If someone has the sun in Sagittarius, right? But the sun is the only planet in Sagittarius. That for the rest, that person has 5 or 6 other planets that are all in Libra. Then that person is a Libra, not a Sagittarius. So that should be clear. David B says, someone told me that, oh, there are so many planets, stars in the universe, so why just a few planets have influence over us? What would you say about this? I tell them that, listen, that these are the default astrological planets, okay? That do have an influence over us. They don't literally influence us. That's something that people don't understand. The planets, all of these planets, don't directly influence us. They're simply mirrors that display influence being carried out over us by a higher power, whether you believe in a higher power or not. So the sun isn't directly responsible. If the sun says that you are stupid, just an example, that doesn't mean that the sun is the one is to blame for your stupidity. The sun simply reflects the character trait stupidity being bestowed upon you by a higher power. Okay, that's what astrology is about. Okay, it's not literally about that. People love confusing those two. They confuse astrology with astronomy. Astrology and astronomy are two incredibly different things. Okay, astronomy focuses on actual space and all celestial bodies, literally with asteroids and all of that. That's what astronomy focuses on. Okay, the literal. But astrology focuses on the occult aspects of all these celestial bodies, regardless of whether they still exist or not. Pluto can stop existing, and that doesn't mean that Pluto's influence will be made any less on events and individuals and so on. But again, when I say Pluto's influence, I don't mean that Pluto is literally influencing it. Pluto is just, how should I put it? Pluto is like the messenger. All of these planets are like messengers, okay? But and the message is coming from somewhere else, from a higher being, in God in this case, whether you want to believe it or not. Even if you're someone that doesn't believe in God, okay. Bottom line is that Pluto and other planets simply convey a message, and that message doesn't come from these planets themselves. It comes from a higher power, the power that appointed you the character trait stupidity in this example. But yeah, someone like that, David B, is just skeptical. Okay, someone like, see what I mean? Someone like that is not open-minded. I mean, someone that's open-minded, sure, no problem. But based on the entire example that you're giving me, or the entire statement from that person, you can immediately tell that that person is an unbeliever, if you will. When there's nothing to believe, okay, this isn't about believing in astrology or not, choosing to believe in something. Astrology deals with facts, literal facts. PK Man says Book of Enoch and Ocean script I've been with. Don't know what you mean by that. Marco Mar says the main angel I work with is Metatron. Okay, good for you. I hope that Metatron is doing well for you, or that you're doing well, better said, connecting with Metatron. Victor G is asking, can you share what types of occult practices you do daily, weekly, slash, aside from work with customers? Also, I didn't say thanks for answering my questions a few streams ago. I was AFK when you left. Okay. No, that's okay. And I can't really share what types of occult practices I do daily or weekly because I don't do anything daily or weekly. That's just what I do, work with customers and work for myself. That's it. But I don't do anything really daily. It's just, it depends on the day. Today is Sunday. I don't have an active solar spirit. The solar spirits that I only have one solar spirit that I work with by default, which is Zipar, and he has no work at the moment. So he's inactive, if you will. He's on standby until either a customer orders something where he can assist, or when I want something that he can help with. For the rest, I don't do anything. Okay. Ritual days simply involve me doing a ritual to the spirit that aligns or corresponds to the planet that that the day rules over, or that rules over the day. And that's all. I just host ritual at any given time I want, preferably when the planet is at its strongest, so in the correct hour. That's it. PK Man says, how can I obtain astral vision while I'm still awake to see spirits? You don't need to be asleep to begin with, and to obtain astral vision is simply you need to go through astral training, if you will. Homer Simpson is asking, I read the article about Sierra and you said he threw a marker on the ground. Was he the marker real or astral? Astral. David B says, have you ever tried or thought about casting a chart without using a technology? LOL. Yes, I did. That's how I first started out. But again, there's no need to put someone through that. That's what my course is about. My course, it will be made significantly easier. Remember back when we were children, assuming that you're in my age class. In any case, back in the 80s when I grew up, there were no calculators or anything. If you wanted to calculate something, you had to do it by hand. 5 plus 5 plus 3 plus 10 plus this. All of that needed to be done by hand. That's why you had mathematical tables, multiplication tables, and everything. But nowadays, I've also noticed it about myself. People can't even do the simplest of things without a calculator. Ask them what 5 times 3 is, 5 multiplied by 3, and they can't tell you what 5 multiplied by 3 is. They'll make an error. They'll either be off by one or two numbers. They'll either say something like 18 or something like that. And back when I first became an astrologer and I simply homeschooled myself, I did everything the same way I did it when I was in school. I I just had pen and paper with me and I drew charts and everything. I drew charts and everything on paper. I used a pencil and everything. We're talking about literally everything. Degrees, I calculated everything by hand. I did everything by hand. It was only at a later stage when I was proficient in astrology after 3 weeks of training, a month of training, that I thought about purchasing a software, astrological software that makes all the difference because I can cast a chart easily in literally seconds. But back then, just casting 3 or 4 charts to practice on, as an example, just writing up a chart and everything takes an entire day, and calculating, it takes at least a day or two. So you can imagine 3 or 4 charts, just example charts, were took up a week or two or a week and a half. So yeah, it's impractical to say the least. And even then, it was simply the primitive version of what I'm doing now. What I do now is much more effective. It's a lot quicker because of technology. I mean, if I want to cast a chart and if I want to fast forward the chart, that's called chart progression. I want to regress the chart by rewinding it. I can easily do so thanks to the software. Oh, Victor Jesus, yeah, I wasn't sure how to formulate the questions. I didn't mean practices like a schedule, but how and why do you decide to do a spiritual occult practice? How I do it, I simply hold ritual for the entity that I work with at his or her altar or at its altar. And the reason I do it is for personal reasons. For example, if I have money workings, then I simply hold, since I have a money working to see it to a form of income, I simply host a ritual every Friday for my Vice Lord Sandalphon, my beloved Vice Lord. And that's it, because he doesn't correspond to Venus, but he comes as close to possible as corresponding to Venus. So I just host ritual every Friday when Venus is at its strongest to see to my financial life. It's similar to work, going to work every day at a certain hour if you want to get paid at the end of the month. That ritual provides him with energy that he needs to do his thing. Oh, Lazaro LG says, I tend to follow coincidence that happens in my life and it seems to give me a better opportunity and results. So does this mean a spirit could be guiding me to a certain path? For example, my dead dad. Yeah, that could be the case, but you'd have to confirm it in one way, shape, or form, in one way or another. Darso says, what are your thoughts on magnetizing foods and drinks with intention? It's not necessary, really. It's impractical, to be honest, magnetizing food and drink with intention. No. I mean, consecrating something, okay, magnetizing something is only practical if it's something of a ritual nature, something that you use within rituals to further enhance your own strength and power. That's it. Victor G says for personal use. Yes, exactly, for personal use. David B says, I was reading a book about casting a chart and I saw it how to do it manually and I saw how to count those degrees, coordinates of a birthplace and such. I was like, nope, exactly. That's my point. That's what I'm talking about. Looking back, do you have any idea how tedious and how undoable it seems for me? Back then, I didn't have any other choice. So I committed myself to it. I said to myself, nah, I'm going to learn astrology. I need to learn it. And the reason for me learning it is because of the Ars Paulina. The Ars Paulina is the only traditional magical operation, okay, that I did, that I performed with the whole table of practice and everything. I'm assuming that most of you out there are familiar with it. It's one of the first articles on my website. I think the fifth article or something, the Ars Paulina Part 1, where you're supposed to have the table of practice and all the seven planets are surrounding the sun being in the middle, and you need a crystal ball and all of that. And if you do everything right, an angel appears in the crystal ball and he will, you need to relay your wishes to him and he'll get it done in a set amount of time. Yeah, that's the reason I learned astrology, because back then I didn't even know what a midheaven, what an ascendant was. I didn't know anything. And I tried to make sense of it, but no matter how hard I tried, I could not. Of the whole grimoire, the Ars Paulina Part One. I don't know. It's book 3 or 4 from the Goetia. So book 3 or 4 from the Lesser Key of Solomon, the Lesser Key of Solomon. Sorry. And I simply said to myself, nah, you know what? Nah, I can't take any shortcuts. I have to learn astrology if I want to work with this thing, if I want to work with the Ars Paulina. So yeah, I just set it aside and I committed myself to learning astrology. And once I had it down after 3 weeks, after 3 weeks, yeah, I mastered natal astrology first after 3 weeks. I mean, once I did that and I started practicing by offering free readings to people, most of them were parasites that were just looking for free stuff. You know how it goes. I mean, it just blew my mind about how accurate it was, and a lot of people told me that too. Especially when I was proficient, people that don't know anything about the occult or astrology simply ask me how in God's name I did that. How I was able to describe them down to the letter. I mean, it was just they told me that their minds were simply blown, and they thought that they didn't know that I did it via astrology. They thought that I was psychic or something. They simply thought that I could make up all of that by sheer intuition. And I remember an old guy telling me, "That's quite a gift you have there. I mean, really, you should really do something with it." So yeah, the so yeah, now you can see for yourself. Okay, that's why. And afterwards, I mastered relocation astrology, and last but not least, horary astrology. After a good while, horary astrology was the last thing that I mastered. And I mastered that lastly because that's also the most difficult one. I said to myself, fine, I'm going to learn horary astrology. But it was really difficult, really, 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 really difficult. Because horary astrology, it is one of the most difficult ones out there. I think the most difficult one because it relies on a lot of intuition and insight. It's like math. You need to be able. It's like advanced math. You really need to be able to see ahead. So whereas natal astrology relies more on data compilation, you simply need to put data together. That's also what I teach in the e-course. You literally just put data together, a bunch of things together. Okay, for example, the sun says that you're stupid, that you're lazy, but that you're committed to doing something once you get to it. Then you simply put it down there. You put it in a text pad or whatever you want to write it down. And that's simply how you move. You move from planet to planet, the sun, Mars, Mercury, blah, 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 etc., until you're done with every planet and every celestial body that you have covered. And then you'll have a whole slew of text. Okay, you'll have a one PDF like text with a bunch of statements that apply to you, and it will be correct provided that your information was correct. So your date of birth, time of birth, and location of birth. Provided that all of that is correct, then yeah, all of the statements will describe you down to a T, and you'll be able to have an overview of yourself. Then you know exactly what kind of job you need to practice in order to be successful, and you know exactly what you need to do and how you need to do it, and not to mention the level of self-ascension that it will bring you, because you'll start seeing yourself the way you really are instead of the biased image that you have in your mind of yourself. That's the way it was for me. That's the way it went for me. I became a lot more self-aware after reading my own natal chart, after reading my own natal statements, and I was like, wow, okay, mind blown. And I became more self-aware, and I immediately just started working towards self-improvement by default. I started minimizing my drawbacks, my negative character traits, aside from just accepting them. That's why it's so hard for people to hurt me. You can try to insult me, but the fact of the matter is that I don't deny who I am. So the negative aspects of who I am. So even if someone wants to try to insult me, they'd have a really hard time to do so, thanks to natal astrology. And aside from that, my positive character traits, I automatically laid heavy emphasis on those, career-wise, etc. Since I saw too that the only major trait, my biggest skill was occult and astrology based, and I had no other skills career-wise, nothing else that I could bring to the table in terms of making a living. So that's why I focus so heavily on all of those things, and the result speaks for itself. And yeah, horary astrology relies on a lot of insight. Okay, you can learn the basics. That's why when in that e-course, when teaching people horary astrology, I give two examples, two real life examples. Okay, I took two examples of my own personal life charts that I had cast way back a year or two ago, and I simply go through it point by point so as to show the viewer or the person that purchased that e-course on exactly how to cast an horary chart. You do need to learn the basics though, but once you've learned the basics, it's all about practicing. Once you practice, practice makes perfect after all, as the saying goes. And once you practice, you'll gain more insight, and the quality of information that you'll be able to extract from an horary chart will be better. David B says, I'll be right back. Sure, no problem. Take your time. Lazaro LG is asking me, how long does it usually take to master astrology? It depends on it all depends. But with my e-course, let's see. With my e-course, if you work non-stop, you can learn it in a day, but that's assuming that you learn everything flawlessly. So if you take things into account, if you take the fact into account that you need to go over the material a couple of times to have it sink in, I'd say with my course, a week. I had to do it without anyone helping me, so it took me 3 weeks. But with my course, again, I'm not boasting for myself or anything. With my course, since everything's already laid out and laid bare for you, mastering natal astrology, relocation, and horary can be done in a week if you work at it nonstop. Let's just say at least 8 hours a day. Then yeah, a week should suffice. Jason Dunn, hi buddy, good to see you. I'm Morino, so please, you've put this course together for us. I can already see how useful this will be for planning ahead with accuracy. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Okay, especially horary astrology. I cast horary charts almost on a day-to-day basis. Almost, maybe just whenever the situation calls for it. That doesn't mean that I don't. I also forewarn people, and I tell people in my e-course to not cast charts willy-nilly. Do not cast a chart for every little stupid thing that you want to know. The things that I cast charts for are things that I really want to know and things that are serious in my life. For example, which direction should I take? Is doing this a good idea? Is doing that a good idea? But things from on a serious level, not no mundane matters. Okay. So if you intend on moving, for example, yes, okay, that's the beauty. You can look ahead and you can see what's waiting there for you. If you're thinking to yourself, hey, can I move to this neighborhood? I want to move across town. Is it a good idea? For example, if I live in London, do I want to move to Glasgow, or do I want to move anywhere else? Okay, do I want to move to Berlin? You can know exactly. That's relocation astrology. Although an horary chart would also tell you the same information, would give away the same information more or less. That's an example. Okay, other examples are whether you should apply to a job at such a company, or whether you should leave your current job in search for a better one. You name it, anything that you can think of that is serious in your life, that you consider serious or priority. I also explained the details revolving this, how it works exactly, um, in terms of a state of mind, because you also need to take that into account. Believe me, it's literally just me holding people's hands online and just telling them everything. That's why it took so long. That's why it's 5 hours. This isn't just some short statement. No, 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 no. This is literally extensively. It's the same as if you were to go to school, and if I were to be your teacher and I would teach you everything. That's what it would be like. Oh, Lazarelji says you mentioned math a lot as an example for astrology, so I can assume astrology and numerology go hand in hand some way. No, only in a basic level, numerology. Yeah, numerology focuses specifically on numbers and the information you can subtract from numbers, but the information even is, generally speaking, superficial, unless you approach a numerologist that will really go into detail. But no, it's just a coincidence that I mentioned math, because believe me, astrology is a lot like math. That's all I'm saying. Okay, but in a different way, of course. Um, Numerology, I also did a video on that and an article on it. Numerology, I'm going to give you an example. Numerology simply focuses on numbers, and I noticed too that these numbers are the same numbers that align well with the Kabbalistic planets. We're talking about the astral values of planets. For example, um, the number seven be aligning with Venus, and therefore aligning with Libra. The number seven is I don't know what it's called. It's my. Hold on, let me check it out. I need to check to see what my thingy is. Hold on for a second, guys. I need to check to see what the numerology reading said about me. So this is just so that you guys have an example. Numerology, so that you guys know exactly who and what and where and why. Uh, Hold on. Um, Hold on for a second. This is just an example that I want to give. Let me just look it up. Oh, mama. Yeah, it's your life path number exactly. My life path number, as far as I know, is 7. Um, Hold on, I need to recast my numerology thingy, my numerology chart, my date of birth, blah blah blah. This is just as an example. Hold on, yeah, life path. Numerology life path number for Morino Ravenberg. Your birthday being September the 29th, 1985, results to 7. Um, what does a life path number of 7 mean? You're the searcher and the seeker of truth. You have clear and compelling sense of yourself as a spiritual being. You're well equipped to handle your task, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Your life path number is kind of like your main number. It's the strongest influence in your life, or something similar. You can see what the difference is. Okay. I mean, you can see how it aligns with astrology. It doesn't. They have no relation to each other aside from the superficial. That's what I'm getting at. 7 is the same number that corresponds to Venus, and Venus rules over Libra, and Libra is that's why the sun is in Libra. So my life path number is 7. Do you see the connection there? You have several kind of numbers, okay? You have a life path number, you've got several other numbers, your destiny number. My destiny number was 5, and you can also see where the destiny number comes into play. 5 correlates to Mars and my Lord Samael and all. So that's your destiny number. Your destiny number in numerology, for example, is simply your number, that the number that you are destined, or better said, the property that you are destined to move towards, and the one that you crave the most. Hence, it being 5 for me, since I crave my Lord Samael the most, or I craved him back in the day. I still do, but I already have him. So yeah. That's an example. David B says, imagining that you made a mistake doing that chart must have been crushing. No, it didn't crush me. How it came to pass, for example, is that I'm going to give you an example. Is that when I cast a free chart for someone, that person told me, "Hey, listen, this isn't correct. This and that isn't correct." And I told them, "Listen, if it's not correct, it's not crushing, really, to be honest. It's just I already take that into account. I tell people in advance, listen, the information is not going to be correct if you cast a chart with the wrong information. So if the chart says that you're a bodybuilder, or that you are good with heavy equipment, heavy machinery, you're good at bulldozering and all of that, and you're literally just a woman that likes to stay at home all day and prefers to do housework, then yeah, you better believe there's something wrong with your information. Most people don't make a mistake when it comes to their date of birth and their location of birth. So for most people, based on my own experience, it's the time. Okay. In developing countries like the one I'm in, the times of birth are still recorded accurately. That means that when a baby's born, they just record it individually. They literally take a look at the clock, okay, or they take a look at their watches, okay. It's 1:25. This guy's been born. What's his name? Morino Ravenberg. Okay, he was born. Blah. There you go. 1:25 p.m. in the afternoon. But it's my according to my own experience in Western countries or in more developed countries, I think they just group everything together. So they don't even issue dates of times of birth anymore, I think, on birth certificates. So if 100 babies are born, they just host some kind of inventory at the end of the day, and they just say, okay, screw this, we're gonna give everyone, we're gonna close off by the time that they do the inventory. You know what I mean? I don't mean a literal inventory when they count heads or whatever. They just say, okay, it's 8 p.m. Listen, I'm going home. Before I go home, 100 babies were born, all of them 8 p.m. Boom. And that's why they also phased it out. I think someone from Australia told me that they phased out times of birth. So it's not even mentioned anymore on your, if you live in Australia, I think, on your birth certificate, just the date of birth and your location. So yeah, and yeah, I had a lot of people, and I told them, no, most likely your time of birth is incorrect. I remember a woman from Scotland, and yeah, it was the same for her. She was a neat-looking woman. She was nice-looking and everything, and she was just the one that likes to she's the type that doesn't like to break a nail, so to speak. She's very elegant and all. And when I cast a chart for her, she told me that she was born at noon, so 12 p.m. When I cast her chart, the chart displayed that or conveyed that she that she was good with heavy equipment and heavy machinery, and she was like, nah, that's not me at all. And I was like, no, I know. While I was busy casting this chart and I was busy extracting the information from it, I immediately said to myself, nah, this can't possibly be right. Your time of birth has to be incorrect. My intuition also told me that. It told me, nah, her time of birth is incorrect. And I said to myself, I told her, no, your time of birth is incorrect. No, 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 no. It doesn't matter what your mother told you or anything like that. Okay, your mother is wrong. Your mother doesn't remember it. Okay, she either has some different thing in her mind or something similar. But people are prone to making mistakes. But the data and the technology behind it does not lie. Um, and yeah, I also know by my own experience as an occultist how to calculate someone's time of birth. I'm not going to convey how I do that. That's one of my little secrets. But I also know how to calculate someone's time of birth based on life events that they've been through and so on. Only provided that they stay in one location. or that they have stayed in a location at the time of the event happening. Location wise, I mean the city and country. And I just when I did that, I just told her, okay, listen, I can I can try to find out what time you were born, and we'll see. And I checked for her, and I said, no, look at the difference. Okay, you told me you were born at noon, so at 12 p.m. I calculated it, and you were born at 8 p.m., 8 in the evening. Look at that, an 8 hour time difference. Do you have any idea what kind of gap that is? That's such a gigantic gap. And she begged me practically to cast her chart again, and I said fine. And back when I cast her again, yes, then she was like, her reaction was yes, now this is correct down to the letter. I had other people read it, and they told me, yo, this is so you, this is you down to a T. And she wanted to know how I did it. Her reaction was like, how did you do that? How in God's name can you calculate my chart? And I said, no, that's a company secret. I'm not divulging that. I have my ways of doing so. But no, I'm not sharing that with anyone, at least for now. So no. Uh, so yeah, that's in any case it, David B, in terms of how a mistake can be made. The Jakes 2009 says, hi Morino, been waiting for another live stream. Are you a drinker? How does alcohol affect the development, operation of astral senses? It all depends on the individual. For some people, alcohol and drugs and so on are a great way to increase one's astral abilities or astral senses. There are people that specifically take hallucinogens in order to communicate with spirits. But with me, alcohol specifically has an adverse effect. And for the general person, yeah, alcohol is not a good idea. Alcohol numbs your astral body pretty much. It numbs the senses. I remember back when I drank a good deal of alcohol, I wasn't able to generate any energy whatsoever during a ritual. So yeah, alcohol is pretty much toxic to the astral body, your physical body too. But we all know that. I think the average person is familiar with that. That drugs and alcohol is not can possibly be good for you from a spiritual perspective. That's why you see most people that consume it in excess, what they look like, and how disoriented they are. They're just a mess, astrally as well as physically. Um, Lazaro LG says my life path is 9. The number then holds all other numbers. Yeah, your life path being 9. 9 aligns with let me check. Nine aligns with the moon. Yeah. Yeah, 9 aligns with the moon. Let me double check. You'll have to excuse me. Um, hold on. Hold on. I just need to look it up. Numbers corresponding. Yeah, I have a thing. Hold on. I have a backup file. Yeah, 9 aligns with the moon. Why can't you zoom in, you bitch? Okay. Yeah, in any case, 9 aligns with the moon. Lazaro LG. And David B says, my life path is 6. I have so many sixes in numerology and such. Yeah, your life path is 6. 6, the sun rules over 6. So that's that. Jason Dunn says, I've noted in my natal chart, it's full of fire, then air, no water. Any suggestions on how to work towards balance or if it's even needed? You'd have to cast your chart in full, or your chart would have to be cast in full. Your chart would really have to be cast in full in order to come to an accurate conclusion. I do need to point out too, okay, that I deliberately did not add any occult relations or any occult aspects into my astrological course. I wanted the course to strictly be about astrology. When I do hand out an occult course, I need to check to see if I will include it in this occult course that I intend on doing. Let me know what you guys think. Again, I mentioned that before previously, but not a lot of people were online. Let me know what you think of the same course, similar to astrology, an course, but instead of an astrological course, it would be an occult course. I intend on picking that up today. So it would simply involve me teaching people in the same way how to practice the occult, what kind of exercises to do and how to do it. And I would send you a playlist upon ordering. Aside from the basic material on paper, I'd send you a playlist And in that playlist, you'd have a list of videos in which I would do every exercise. So you can literally see what I am doing, and you can simply mimic my moves and my intent all the way up until ritual. I would show you even how to put an altar together, how to do this, how to do that, how to do everything. Okay, let me know what you let me know what you guys think about that. Whether it is something that would appeal to people. I know that it's something that that's going to appeal to people, but I would like to know what you guys specifically think about it. People that are on this live stream right now. So this is also in handy for people that would, for some reason, not be able to attend my classes. Maybe I don't know, people that live in the Middle East or people that live in Russia. Since I don't have any intent on going to Russia and handing out occult lessons there, my aim and focus is more towards Europe and North America as a whole. But yeah, the e-course would come in handy, an e-occult course. You'd simply be able to mimic me and simply follow everything and do everything I do in order to achieve intended desire. I don't know if I'm going to include astrology in that. At the time, off the top of my head, I don't think I'll be including it. I don't think I'll be including it. Okay, I'll be including simply the exercise set, and I'd be doing the exercises on video in real person, so you can see how to scry, for example, how to build up astral senses, and all of that. I do the same stuff, but only I'd record myself doing. I do the same stuff that I would be doing in the beginning stages of my practice, but the only difference is that now I'll be recording it for educational purposes, so that you guys can see how to scry, how to do this, how to do that, how to perform a ritual, how to set up an altar, what the basic things are that you need to have on an altar in order to have results come about, etc., etc. So yeah, I don't think I'll be including divinations in that. Divination all relies on you. If I do include it, I think I'm going to simply include tarot card readings because they're short and practical. I personally combine astrology with tarot card readings, but that is way too elaborate. That's going to take way too long for people. So for someone that is someone out there that wants to go all the way, then you'd have to purchase both my courses, the astrological course first, and you'd have to go through it and walk through it and master it, and then the occult course. So then you can combine astrology with tarot card readings the same way that I do. Again, if there are any other questions, people have plenty of methods for contacting me, so that's not a problem. Um, it's not like it stops. If someone purchases the course and a person has questions, that person gets stuck somewhere, or you name it, whatever, okay, then that person can simply contact me. You can simply contact me via one or more of my numerous contact methods. So yeah, that's it. Um, so yeah, Jason Dunn, you'd have to cast your entire chart in detail, or you'd have to have it cast, for example, by me in detail. Only then would you be able to only then would you be able to know exactly what to do and whether balancing yourself is even necessary. For me, it's the same thing. I lack fire tremendously. I have a lot of earth signs and a lot of air signs, but I lack water and fire, but primarily fire. But it all depends on your perspective, okay? From an elemental perspective, the energy that I lack the most is fire, definitely. So hence my Lord Samael and everything. I have, it's safe to say that I've exceedingly outbalanced myself in terms of fire. Right now, I'm literally more fire and water than I naturally am, but that's different. I've changed myself in that regard or aspect. And the only way that you can change yourself via occult means I changed my natural alignment, elementally speaking, because my strongest elemental alignment is air. I'm an intellectual, a thinker. But now I've made myself better, I don't have any shortcomings. My shortcomings, elementally speaking, used to be fire and water. Whereas now, I have everything pretty much, honestly. I have air, earth, fire, and water. And fire and air are the most are the most prevalent ones for me. They're the ones that show up most in my personality, along with water, and last but not least, earth. Oh, David B says, I'm in an astro group and they said they interpret the degrees by numerology. So I've told them that might not be the right thing to do. No, but again, believe me, that's why I remove myself from practically any kind of occult group or any kind of metaphysical group online. Believe me, you'll just end up wasting your time by engaging in a useless discussion with them, and then it's going to turn into an he said, she said argument going back and forth. It poses little to no benefit, okay? Besides, the majority of these groups are filled with parasites. That's why I removed myself and withdrew from these groups a long time ago. A long time ago. Yeah, Jason Dunn says I prefer the occult version. Yes, yes. However, both would be awesome. David B says agree. Okay, no, it's good. Good to know. Yeah, I think. Yeah, and not. I think I am going to also publish an e-occult course, so you guys can be on the lookout for that. That e-occult course would simply be the same stuff as me teaching you in person, but it would. It would simply be an e-course, so that means that it would be able to be issued to you guys remotely. You purchase the course and boom, you can simply walk yourself through the process, and I'll be teaching you on video how to do everything, how to scry and everything, all up until the point that you're a proficient magician and you can fend for yourself, magically speaking. Santix Mendoza says, hello, Morino, have a nice day. Yes, same to you. Jason Dunn says, yes, I love this idea and look forward to it. You really inspire me because you prove that we can make positive change. Thanks. It's good to hear. It's good to hear. Again, if anyone has any other questions, I'm all ears. Oh, let me see. And no, that's it, at least for now, regarding questions. So again, I'm still online and I'll hear from you guys whenever someone has a question. Let me see. For the rest, there's nothing else really that I can talk about. There's nothing else really that I have in mind at this moment. So, like I said, this is also a miscellaneous. This is also a miscellaneous live stream. So anyone that wants to shoot any question, as usual, just go ahead, and I'm all ears. Let me see. David B is asking me, when you were young, did you feel curious about the occult or you felt naturally drawn to it? Both. I felt naturally drawn to it. And I also felt curious, but at the same time, I also was curious about the occult. Um, I also need to mention that. I also need to mention that 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 there's a reason for that. I have the character trait that I draw spirits to me naturally. Okay, spirits are attracted to me like a magnet. That's one of the reasons I'm so skilled. But the problem is, back in the day, I was plagued by malevolent and negative spirits because they just felt drawn to me, and I also prefer more chthonic spirits, so malevolent spirits. Hold on for a second. Um, hold on for a second. Okay, yeah. So, like I said, that's I simply have that character trait. But before my beloved Lord Samael things, I was just tortured, honestly, and I just had regularly. I was just well, tortured is an extreme word, but I was just bothered or pestered by negative entities and dark entities and evil spirits just coming my way and just fucking my life up and making my life a living hell because I have that character trait. And since we're on that subject, that character trait, it can also be seen if you delve really deep into astrology, specifically my degrees. That's also one of the things I have in my e-course. I spare no expense, and I even have the zodiacal degrees and their definitions. I've included that even in my in that e-astro course of mine. So that means everything, even literally everything, is included. I was born under 6 degrees in Libra. So the sun was 6 degrees in Libra that I was born, and that 6 degrees stands for psychic. It's a psychic aspect. It someone who was born under that degree is someone who automatically attracts energies and spirits to him. And yeah, it's also the marking sign of an invoker. So someone that has energies and that has spiritual energy flow through him or her, rather than the opposite. Have energy manifest in front of them. No, 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 no. So yeah, that's how it all works. Okay, that's also the reason why I was able to. That's also the reason why I was able to finally make the breakthrough that I needed in terms of practicing successfully. Because back then, when I still tried to evoke, nothing would work. I tried the multiple magical systems and nothing worked. And it was only after I finally managed to obtain the definitions for zodiacal degrees is that I understood. And I said to myself, oh, okay, so invoking is the way to go, not evoking. My specialty lies in invoking, energy flowing through me. And that's also why it dawned upon me that the old school Golden Dawn exercises like the middle pillar and the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram and hexagram, blah, 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 that all of these rituals work so well. I literally just blazed through all of those rituals with ease. I memorized them in days and I mastered them in days too. But when it came to evoke, just nothing. And it was such a bummer, so disappointing. But that's when I realized it, and I also noticed that, hey, oh, so that's also the reason for why I had a bunch of annoying negative spirits always come my way in and just annoy me and just straight up mess with me for no good reason. I'm like a magnet for spirits. That's also, it still applies, okay, but the only difference is that now it applies to me in a positive way, due to my occult practices and my beloved Lord and Vice Lord. I specifically my Lord Samael, I managed to turn it around and have it work to my advantage rather than it being detrimental to me. So now I still draw spirits to me. That's also why it's so easy for me to summon spirits, because I don't even summon. If I want to see a spirit, I just go like, hey, spirit, by name. I just think about him. Hey, where are you? Come here. I've got something for you, or something similar. And I just approach them politely, and boom, they appear. They appear just, even if I just give it one or two thoughts, they're literally just one thought away from me. So I don't have to summon or anything. So yeah, that's one of the reasons. But it just goes to show you that the devil lies in the details. Because if I if I didn't take those degrees into account, I never would have known exactly what was up, what the reason was for me not being able to summon successfully or to evoke successfully, and the reason for why I simply a reason for why I simply drew spirits to me like a moth to a flame. David B is asking me, does palmistry also play a role in that? No, palmistry also has some merit to it, but I never looked into palmistry beyond the basic things. Okay, and no one out there or no source out there seems to be able to give you an elaborate explanation on palmistry. But yeah, palmistry is correct. I also had someone read my palm, a fortune teller, and she was. I worked with her for years before I became a proficient magician. She's still around, but I don't work with her anymore. But I used to work with her back when I was completely vulnerable, and I had to rely or resort to help from other spellcasters to defend myself magically. But yeah, she read my hand palm too, and the things that she said do align well with my own natal chart. One or two basic statements about me, the first part of my life being really difficult, and all of that. She did read my thing, and she said, "Yeah, I see. This line says this. This line says that this line says that the first part of your life has been filled with difficulty. That's why a couple of lines keep running through the main line, blah blah blah, and afterwards that line is completely thick and just strong, and it doesn't waver. That means that after the beginning part of your life that's so difficult, you'll end up doing well for yourself, and you'll remain strong and virtuous, and things, good fortune will, nothing but good fortune will befall you all the way up until death, pretty much. Yeah. So yeah, it does have merit, palmistry. When I read a book about astral traveling, David B says, I don't know why, but they saw how dangerous it is and they just put so much fear and things like that, which I don't understand. That's pure nonsense, okay? That sounds more like a deterrent. I never had any issues. Yeah. They just, they just I don't know, that book that you're referring to is just, it's not seriously meant, okay, or it's more meant as a deterrent to ward off the average person that wants to astral travel. Astral traveling can also be risky, but the risk factor is very, very low. I never had any issues when astral traveling. I don't know if most of you have seen a horror movie out there. I forgot what the name of the movie is, but it's a horror movie about a boy that astral travels subconsciously in his sleep, and he ends up being held hostage by some kind of demon. I forgot the name of the movie. The movie was a good movie, surprisingly, despite the fact that I didn't like the whole amateurish occult aspect of it. But the movie was a good movie. I can't put my finger on it. Um, it's one phrase. It's like malevolent or something. Uh, it's not The Conjuring, David B. It's something else. I forgot the name of it. They made a bunch of sequels. I have no idea why they keep making these stupid sequels. But in any case, yeah, something like that can happen in reality when you astral travel, but it's highly unlikely. Okay, because you can simply you can within a flash you can simply withdraw back to your physical body. The chance of your astral body being captured or being kidnapped by, or you being held hostage astrally by a malevolent entity is highly unlikely. It's primarily the reason is that you don't travel with your entire astral being. The link between your physical body and your astral body is never severed. Yeah, exactly. It's Insidious. Insidious is the movie. Insidious Part 1 was the best one. And they made a bunch of sequels to Insidious, but that's what it was about. I like the fact that the movie was made so simple and that it was made so effective in terms of scares and so on. The movie didn't scare me. Nothing scares me. But when watching the movie, I can immediately tell why the average person would be terrified. And again, I just didn't like the whole amateurish viewpoint on astral traveling and so on. But it doesn't matter. That's because I'm an occultist. So yeah, for me, it's nothing short of common. Whereas for the average person, astral traveling is something wondrous and mystical. And this movie also says that it can be incredibly dangerous. Blah blah blah. Um, Santix Mendes Osis is asking, what's the deal with Ophiuchus, the new zodiac house? It always been there, is it now? Yes, it has always been there, but it's impractical to work with Ophiuchus. It's true. Ophiuchus is the 13th house and the 13th zodiac signs. Okay. Um, Okay, yeah. Ophiuchus is a new zodiac sign. Not really new. It's relative. I mean, back when I was starting to practice astrology, I also heard of it. Again, anyone can look it up. Okay, the 13th zodiac sign, and you'll find it right away. But it's not practical to use within astrology. It's incorporation into the existing sign, into the existing astrological system. The way that we work with 12 houses and 12 zodiac signs is impractical. There would be honestly no room, okay, for Ophiuchus, and a good deal of research which hasn't been done yet would have to be done into it, and let alone it being incorporated to it. I mean, Ophiuchus, I'm seeing it having some value or some significance, but until astrologers and astronomers or whomever researches stuff like this doesn't publish the information on it, on in terms of its astral significance, what it reflects, what it represents, and blah blah blah, then yeah, you won't be able to do anything with it. So yeah, you can easily disregard Ophiuchus at the very least for now. It's NA, non-applicable. Jason Dunn says, I went to one of my relatives' houses and had to go in a room to get something. I found a needle stuck through a picture of my face. I removed them both from her house. Holy crap, that relative is trying to pull some voodoo on you. A needle stuck through a picture of your face? No, that's not good. That's witchcraft or voodoo. If it were voodoo, it would be the doll, so I'm guessing more witchcraft. Mark Omar says, do you have any information about Molech, his attributes? Because I'm not able to find much information on it. Yes, I do, Moloch, the pagan god that was demonized. Hold on for a second. I don't have extensive information on him. As a matter of fact, Moloch is, he's here right now. See, just me thinking about him. In any case, Moloch has asked me in the past to cover him too, but I simply said it's impractical. And since I don't publish any new material, then yeah, I um, I don't intend on doing so. But I have covered Moloch briefly in terms of attributes, just the attributes in in a couple of posts of mine, pagan gods. There were two posts that I wrote back in the day. Pagan Gods 1 or Pagan Gods 2. Let me just look it up for you. Pagan Gods 2. Moloch, yes. Moloch was a Canaanite god turned demon and is Kabbalistically seen as part ruler of the cliff Artomiel. Yeah, see here. Okay. Yeah, planet Mars, zodiac sign Aries, 22 degrees. Description, general Martian affairs, e.g. offense and defense is honest and just, however, yes. Hold on for a second, I'm gonna paste it. There you go, Santix Mendes Osis, I'm sorry, Mark Omar, there's the link to Pagan God, my article, Pagan Gods 2. So yeah, in short, Moloch is Mars. He's corresponds to 22 degrees in Aries, and the description is that he simply deals with general Martian affairs. Knock yourself out. Yeah, Jason Dunn. Someone's really trying to mess with you there. So yeah, protection would be well advised from my Lord Samuel. He says preferably, but he's just joking. He says he's joking, but he's serious at the same time. Um, Let me see. Santix Menes also says thanks. Yeah, sure, no problem. Other guys say thanks too. No problem. Yeah. The way that Moloch appears is as a huge cow standing on two hind legs, with a crown on his head and a medieval cape. I'm sorry. I mean a royal cape around his back or on his back, similar to what kings used to wear back in the day when actual kings ruled. You know. Um, that's it. Similar to Lucifuge Rofokal. Lucifuge simply appears as the whole goat of Mendes thing. That's what he appears like. I'm assuming that most of you are familiar with the goat of Mendes. If you don't know what the goat of Mendes is, it's just a goat that also walks on two hind hooves, and that's associated with the devil from a paganistic perspective. David Bisa is also considering astrological subjects and such. What about Vesta, Juno, Point of Luck? I think they have lesser influence, so to speak. Yes, not think. They do have lesser influence. Yeah, they do have a lesser influence. Okay, their influence is significantly lesser, so much to the point that I don't work with them. But you can still choose to do so. In the eAstro course, when setting up the software, when going over general settings, I do mention to people which ones I use. I use Chiron, I use Lilith, and the Part of Fortune, and the lunar nodes, the North and the South node. That's it. The North and the South node, even as well as all the other ones that I've mentioned, their significance is very less, okay, with the exception of the Part of Fortune. Part of Fortune is very important, especially in horary astrology, especially in horary astrology. In natal astrology, it's just general, okay. Part of Fortune is also good, but just general speaking in terms of priority. That's why in that course I go over the first planets first, and after that I do the lesser ones, the ones that aren't as important as the main planets. The 10 planets are important, specifically the 7 ones, okay. So the moon, the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. After that, I treat Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, and after that, I go over the rest. I go over Lilith, so the black moon, I go over Chiron. It's an asteroid, and it's signified by greenish. It has a greenish color, and the part of fortune. That's it. The lunar nodes come in dead last. Okay, the lunar nodes are simply mathematical points, and they don't really convey a lot. So don't beat yourself up over if you don't work with any of these. But if you want to include all the other ones too, yeah, Ceres, Juno, Pala Vesta, a bunch of asteroids and other celestial bodies, you don't have to. But the software does give you the chance to do so. Like I said, in the general settings, when I discuss it, I also show people after installation, after installing the software, okay, general settings wise, how you can add and remove planets or celestial bodies. And then simply the software has a built-in ephemeris and everything and a built-in map. So if you want to add celestial bodies, even you'll be able to choose from a whole range of celestial bodies. We're talking about 40 to 50, I saw at least. But no, I don't use any of them. Okay, because they're so unimportant to the point where they barely even make a difference. So yeah, you can safely leave them out. Point of luck is the part of fortune, and like I said, it's very important, especially in horary astrology. In natal astrology, it simply shows you its placement regarding of which zodiac sign and which house it's placed in is it simply conveys where you'll be successful in. For example, for me, I don't want to divulge too much into it because I don't want to give away the course material. The part of fortune was in the seventh house when I was born. It was in Cancer in the seventh house. Long story short, it simply means that I will be most successful in associating with people that I were in associating with people that I build close bonds with by doing domestic work or working from home, which I am doing. Okay, it's simply a reference to customers that I bonded well with and that I become friends with. I become friends with a good deal of my customers, and I still have these people on WhatsApp, and I still chat to them. One of them I've known for 3 years now, at least 3 years, ever since I started my practice as a beginner. He knows who he is, wink, wink. But he's not online, unfortunately. He's too busy doing other things and too busy with his own personal affairs. Oh, Marco Mar says, I've seen Moloch's drawing in Le Diable. It looks the same as you described him. Yeah, it's true. Like a cow, right? A cow sitting on a throne with a crown on his head and the whole sash, not sash, sorry. I mean, the reddish royal cape on his back. Yeah, that's correct. That image is correct. That's how he appears, generally speaking. Jason Dunn is asking, is a one-time working through you with Lord Sile enough to clear up all that's been thrown at me? Yes, he says more than enough. Not only is it more than enough, it can also provide you with short-term protection. He says short-term in the sense of at least a couple of months. I have a feeling I have many enemies. He says not many. You do have more than a few though that wish you ill will. Oh, Santix Mendes says, what's your opinion about Masonry and secret society? I have no opinion on them. They don't appeal to me or attract me whatsoever. I wanted to join a local lodge that also thingies them that also is involved in brief esoteric things, similar to in esoteric things such as rituals, similar to the Freemasons and Freemasonry. You do have them here. They do have representatives even in this shithole, but they come in the form of lodges and I forgot which lodge. I forgot what it was called. But no, I saw off the idea. I just went by because they had an open house, and the problem is that a lot of younglings and a lot of young people aren't interested, and the problem is that they that their older members are dying off and they have no new members to replace them. So they're suffering simply from, I think it's called graying, or it's called they're going through some kind of gray phase, or the order is collapsing due to grayishness. In any case, they simply mean that they have a bunch of old people as members, and or people that have become old and they have no new members or no new applicants to replace them. So no masonry for me or any other society. No. I work solo. I'm the one that should host my own, that should start my own order, to be honest, but I don't want to start an order. Orders are simply overrated. It's just some kind of country club for either wannabe occultists, in my opinion, or similar. I honestly have no opinion on it. Nor does it appeal to me. David B says, I've heard about some rays. Yeah, solar rays. Yeah, rays also don't really apply. Their influence is so minimalistic that it's not worth it. It's really not worth it. It's really not worth it. By the way, I do need to point a shout out to my beloved Oriel, not my beloved Oriel, the Archangel Oriel that just greeted me. Oriel rules over the earth too, but from a celestial perspective. My Vice Lord Sandalphon rules over the earth in an elemental perspective. So nature and everything falls under him, and Oriel deals with astrology from the cosmos and all of that. So yeah, if you really want to master astrology and gain more astrological knowledge, then Oriel is the way to go. I also worked with Oriel back in the day, but only briefly and not for astrological knowledge. Aside from that, from a Goetic perspective, Amy can also help you. I think I said that once before in a previous live stream. In the Goetia, the spirit that can teach you astrology is mentioned is Amy. He's one of the ones that stands out the most, just in general. And yeah, Amy can help you too with those things, but he's not the only one to help you out with astrological knowledge. So yeah, um, oh yeah. So hold up for 1 second. Hold on. I'm just quiet for a second. I need to shoot a WhatsApp text message someone's way. Uh, okay. Yeah, Jason Dunn. I hope you didn't miss my answer. Since I answered you relating to the whole one-time working. I just hope you got it. Oh, you got the message. Okay. Jason Dunn is asking. I have Lilith and Scorpio. Is that a good placement occult-wise? I have compiled a list. This is from my own. I call it an astrological data sheet. It it's an astrological data sheet. It simply has information that I've compiled based on my own. Aside from external sources, sometimes there were no external sources. It's simply things that I've compiled, or statements that I've compiled, or facts regarding placements of lesser known and unimportant or celestial bodies, or bodies like Chiron and Lilith that aren't really high on the priority scale. It's called an astrological data sheet. It's also included in the Astro course, the E course. So yeah, Lilith in Scorpio, I would rather not mention that. All I'm gonna say is that Lilith the general information that Lilith conveys is, because I don't want to give away I don't want to give away the farm, so to speak. I don't want to give away too much information. Otherwise, I'd be giving away the course as a whole, or at least partially. Um, yeah, I don't blame you, Jason. Dunn. It's okay. You just asked a neutral question. All I'm gonna say is that Lilith, generally speaking, is more prevalent and more prominent in a woman's chart. In the chart of men, Lilith stands for where Lilith is placed, and what zodiac sign Lilith is placed in conveys where a man has difficulty dealing with women or coping with women. For example, in my own chart, I have Lilith in Taurus in the fourth house. So yeah, wink, wink. Okay, good to see you got it, Jason Dunn. Okay. Occult experience, welcome. I've seen you. This is the first time I'm seeing you. Oh, you're a long time listener. Okay. It's the first time I'm seeing you comment. Long time listener here. Speaking of the goat of Mendes, I'm wondering if you have ever worked with Baphomet. Is it an ancient god or an egregore? Honestly, let me check. I have difficulty remembering. It's an egregore. It's just the Knights Templar primarily worship this spirit. Hold on. I did cover Baphomet. Hold on for a second. or Baphomet. Hold on for a second. I have an article and everything on him. I think I also had no, just an article. I never did a video on Baphomet. Yeah. Um, he was an entity worshipped by the Knights Templar in the Crusader time period, and he's unjustly seen as a symbol for the devil. But relating to his exact roots, I'm unaware of that exactly. But based on my knowledge and experience, Baphomet is an egregore. He was simply worshipped into existence by the Knights Templar and blah blah whatnot, and so on. Okay. Hold on for a second, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on for a second, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back in a minute. I just need to pick something up. Someone brought me food. I ordered takeout, and someone simply brought me takeout. So, un momento, por favor. I'll be back in a second. Just give me a second. David B, I'll get to your question right after I come back. This question I've been thinking. That occult experience. I added the link to the article on Baphomet. You can read it, or Baphomet, in the chat bar. So yeah, feel free to check it out. David B, your question. Let's see. You're asking me what would happen if person A asks Lord Sama. Oh, you're simply getting at what would happen if two people ask the same entity for opposing wishes, right? Hold on, I'll get to that in a second. Yeah, now I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for. I'm just back. I'm just back. Okay. Thanks for your patience, for being patient. Let's see, David B. In relation to your question, it would be a difficult matter. It's not a black and white matter. I mean, several questions would be asked, you name it. But in the worst case scenario or a straightforward scenario, things would be canceled out. And either nothing would come of it, or the person that would be in the right would gain the upper hand. So I hope that clears it up. Okay, so yeah, ladies and gentlemen, any other questions? Any other questions whatsoever? And I'm all ears. Uh, David B is asking. I mean, the chances are very, very minimal of something like that happening. Yes, again, I know it's just in theory, but like I said, it's just like I said. Okay, it would either be cancelled out, or the person that would be in the right would be morally justified with getting the upper hand, and the other person wouldn't be protected, or vice versa. It's not a black and white matter. It would be very complicated. But again, something like this never happens. It has never happened, he says. Practically never happened. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, that's it in any case. Any other questions whatsoever? Any other questions whatsoever? Anyone else out there? I pretty much already discussed the my e-astrological course, so I'm done with that bit unless someone has questions relating to it. For the rest, it's just the usual during live streaming. If you guys have any questions, just feel free to ask me. Feel free to ask me them, and yeah, and we'll take it from there. And I think I'm gonna stop the live stream when I don't see any other questions from anyone anymore for at least 5 or 10 minutes. David B is asking me what food I have. Ah, yes, I see. Anyway, what food do you have? No, I just had takeout. Okay, I asked the cab driver via WhatsApp to buy me to get takeout for me at a local Indonesian restaurant, and I just ordered nasi. That's spelled Nasi. That's spicy nasi. Nasi is like Indonesian rice. It's brown rice, but with vegetables and chicken and all of that. And I told him extra spicy. That's it. And he just brought it. That's why he was the one honking his horn in front of my house. And he already sent me a WhatsApp message telling me that it was him, that he was already here. But I had my phone set to vibrate because the ringtone was too annoying during live streams. Gukun House, good to see you. Greetings, Morino. Did Baphomet look like in the he is what? Grammar usage is an issue, I see. I'm not insulting you. In any case, did Baphomet look the way he's usually pictured? Did you unveil what the hovering over you meant? Oh yeah, the whole hovering bit that I saw him hover over my astral body. No, really, the hovering was just, it wasn't him specifically. It was just symbolic for us above, so below. That the with me balance is key, if you will. And yeah, Baphomet does look the way he really is. He usually is pictured. Baphomet simply appears as a goat with the two moon things. He's used as an analogy for as above, so below. That's all. But for the rest, yeah, he's doing fine and well. For the rest, nothing special really. Honestly, no real interest in Baphomet, but Baphomet does have potential in any case. Uh, So yeah, we're most likely looking at a pagan god here with Baphomet. Like I said, he was an egregore, but egregores, he is a pagan god in the sense that he's an egregore that has been supercharged somewhat due to worship. If I remember correctly, Baphomet also had a kind of a dangerous aspect to him. Honestly, this is a testament to how skilled Baphomet is. It's a testament, I mean, it's a testament to Baphomet's, how should I put this? To the people that worshipped him, especially the Knights Templar. There is, I think, if I'm not wrong, there is some kind of danger of misfortune, etc. Yeah, yeah. At least for me personally, that was the case. There was some danger of misfortune and whatnot. Oh, Occult Experience is asking what spirit would you recommend for education endeavors? Well, I have an entire list of that on my website. I have sections in the sidebar to the left in which I denote knowledge and wisdom, things for educational matters. You have plenty of spirits that cover that. I'm going to link that too in the description below. I mean, in the description below, I'm going to link that in the sidebar, in the chat bar. So yeah, there you go. There you go, occult experience. Just click on that link and it will take you to my website, specifically the section that gives spirits that specialize in educational matters. So whether it be literature or just learning quickly and more effectively, and etc., and all of that. David B is asking, when I read books regarding astrology, I've noticed that some they don't even care about Pluto or they do it partially, which I find strange. That's because there is not enough information on Pluto out there. Pluto in the astrological houses is present, and not Pluto in the zodiac signs. I myself compiled that based on my own experience because Pluto, the modern planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, the non-traditional ones, are they're they're less black and whitish in terms of knowledge. And that's less black and whitish in terms of they're less straightforward and traditional in terms of zodiacal alignments and so on. For example, Pluto is strong in a number of planets, regardless of what element they fall under, you name it. Um, so yeah, with that e-course, you will get the full scope on Pluto. I have Pluto's aspects, I have Pluto's aspects, and Pluto in the houses was already known. But I added Pluto in zodiac signs as an addition. Oh yeah, that's because also Pluto was discovered lastly, and some people debate on whether Pluto is a planet or not. Some don't see Pluto as a planet, and they compromised eventually, and they started calling Pluto a dwarf planet, so a mini planet. It doesn't matter. Again, as an astrologer, it does not matter. The only thing that matters for me personally is Pluto's significance and what Pluto conveys from an occult perspective. That's all. Homer Simpson is asking, I watched the video which you met God. Did you meet him again recently? Or any experience? No, every now and then God just pops up and he's just metaphorically speaking checking in on me. But the things he's doing is just for amusement. Okay, he's just he already knows everything and all of that. So this is just more for amusement purposes. But he's just saying hi and just checking in on me to see how I'm doing, despite the fact that he already knows how I'm doing. You know how it goes. David B is asking, so in medieval times they didn't use Pluto, right, until it was discovered? Correct. In medieval times, not even Uranus and Neptune were mentioned. They work strictly with the seven planets. That's why they're called the seven magical planets. That's also why the hexagram has 6 points and the sun in the middle, since the sun is the strongest planet and every other planet rotates around the sun. And the sun has its own system called the solar system. Yeah, they only use the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Homer Simpson is asking, does he visit you daily? No, but he did just now because we were on the subject. And God just doesn't say anything. Everything I've had to say about God is already mentioned from an occult perspective. Is already mentioned in the original video that you're referring to. David B is saying then their charts one is correct as now. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, but that accounts for most things. Their charts one is correct as now. As a matter of fact, in the Ars Paulina, part one, so the Lessetti of Solomon, book 3 or 4, in any case, the Ars Paulina, the document I'm referring to, part one, the editor even of the Ars Paulina refers to the editor of the Ars Paulina himself says that the Ars Paulina of the I'm sorry, the editor of the Ars Paulina himself. I'm sorry, I'm being distracted briefly by spirits here. It's okay. It's okay. The editor of the Ars Paulina mentioned that the person that wrote the Ars Paulina Part One did make some mistakes. The person that wrote it did make a good deal of mistakes. in his or her calculations. That person miscalculated things because it was a real bitch doing things back in that day. And yeah, you can imagine that their stuff wasn't nearly as accurate as it is now, as you can make it now. But like I said, that's the case for not only from an occult perspective, that's also the case for mundane things, obviously. I mean, I mean, cars didn't even exist back then. Everything was pretty much primitive compared to today's standards, hopelessly primitive. Occult experience. Speaking of planets, what is your opinion on Rahu and Ketu in Vedic astrology system? I have no opinion on them. As I can remember it correctly, Rahu and Ketu are simply the lunar nodes, so the north and the south nodes. But they have different names, of course, Rahu and Ketu. For the rest, nothing else really. I think you chimed in too late, but that's okay. Not your fault after all. Um, the I already discussed Vedic astrology briefly because people in the beginning did ask me about Vedic astrology, and since I'm on the subject of chiming in, if people want to be notified of my next live stream, be sure to click the bell icon aside from subscribing to me, to subscribing to my channel. Click the bell notification icon. That way, you'll be notified when I host another live stream and you won't see it too late or just you won't enter the discussion halfway. This is just an FYI. So yeah, David B is saying, I strongly hope that you'll be around for a long time, so I'll be able to get all of your current or future courses. Occult experiences says, sorry, it's okay. No, it's okay. This is just something that I mentioned because a couple of people have this issue. They regret that they came online too late and that they missed a good deal of my live stream or similar. This can easily be alleviated or helped. Okay, just subscribe and click the bell button. That way, the second I come online or the second I publish new material, a new video or a new live stream, you'll immediately be notified that I've done so, and then you can join the discussion from the beginning stages. Oh, David B, you don't have to worry. Okay, I do want to visit as many places as possible to give out to give out these occult courses. But I thought I'd get a head start. I thought I'd get a head start on things with with these e-courses. And aside from that, these e-courses are also handy for people that either can't see me now, obviously, or people that don't intend on coming to the location, that don't intend, people that live in areas where I don't intend on hosting lessons in real life person. Like the example I gave, Russia, for example, you name it. It's just an example. I'm not dissing Russia personally, nor am I dissing any Russian follower. You said, okay, you're asking me from what you said, you also plan to visit Europe and hold seminars and such. Yeah, definitely. Okay, as long as the interest is sufficient, then yeah, I will be there. Okay, it goes without saying that the US is definitely on my bucket list. The US is number one by all means. But the United Kingdom is also on my list, although I don't like what's happening in the US as well as the UK right now. I don't want any acid attacks when I go to London or any stabbings or any of that shit. But yeah, that aside, politics aside, okay. Yeah, the UK would be an excellent place to visit too and to hand out these courses. And David B, you said you live in the Czech Republic, right? They live in Prague or some other city. Oh, Santix Mendes also says, have you traveled astrally to ancient places like ruins, pyramids, etc.? I mean, places of Aztecs, Egyptians, etc. I think the thing is, I did visit the pyramids of Giza I've astral traveled to the pyramids of Giza in Egypt. I think, not sure. I don't remember. I don't really remember it that well anymore because it's been years since I've astral traveled. Homer Simpson is asking me, does God say nothing when usually visiting you, or does God tell you something? No, he doesn't tell me anything. He's just briefly looking at what I'm doing. A visit is literally a couple of seconds, no more. Jesus has done so too. And the first time I saw Jesus, I just thought to myself, nah, it's just my imagination. I'm just seeing things. And my Lord Samael had to set me straight and told me, no, that's really him. You did see him. But again, it's literally brief, a second or 2 seconds. Um, Oh, you live outside of Prague. Prague is a few hours away from you. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, no, no. I really do intend on going to Europe. I think I might start off in the Netherlands and then I'll take it from there. Okay. Since I speak Dutch fluently, it's not an issue. So yeah, going to the Netherlands and from there on, I can easily even come all the way to the Czech Republic. But again, it goes without saying that I only intend on visiting places that I only intend on visiting places that where there is an occult, where there's a significant occult presence, or where there is simply the need for such a seminar. I'm not going to go to any European country or any country for that matter where there is little to no interest. It's supply and demand after all. I go where the demand is present. So, like I said, based alone on my website views and all of that, let alone my YouTube channel, the US is definitely the US and Canada, North America as a whole is definitely a must. And regarding Europe, the UK is also a must. And we'll see about the rest. The Netherlands is, I don't know, arbitrary. It's still up in the air. I don't know, maybe. But I think that there's enough or that there is enough that there's enough of an interest in Holland, at least for one course. We'll see. I honestly don't know, but we'll see when it comes. I'll get to it when I get to it. You're saying I think your course would also help people to start their own astrological careers. That is correct, definitely. Yeah, the best thing with the best thing to do would to literally simply be in person. But of course, I want serious people. Listen, the difference with this e-course is that that anyone can buy it. From a business perspective, I honestly don't care. You either want to buy it or not. You either buy it. What you do with it for the rest is pretty much your problem. As long as you don't do anything illegal with it or anything abnormal with it. But I prefer obviously that serious people buy it. Serious people actually purchase it and will work from it. Once you're serious, then it won't be an issue. But it goes without saying too that that way to the best way to share this knowledge would be in person. The best way to learn everything would be via a class and to have me in front of it and teaching and everything. That would be the best way of going about it. Okay. Um, so yeah, that's it on the that's it on all courses that I give. So we'll see, because again, it is a lot of work, but that doesn't even remotely phase me. So I definitely be do so. I definitely be doing so, because realistically, I'd have to rent, similar to a classroom. I'd have to rent some office space in which I can fit enough people sitting behind desks, for example, 20 people. And I'd have to make everything presentable. Every person would have to have a laptop from which you can work and learn to work with the software, blah blah blah, etc. But it's all very doable. I've already envisioned it in my head, and all of it is very doable. David B says it will be called Morino Ravenberg Tour de Europe. Yeah, yeah, I think so. I'm thinking right now. I don't think there are any other places really that come to mind. But in any case, even if I were to just visit the UK, it wouldn't be a problem for you. You'd easily be able to take the train or something to the UK. Homer Simpson is asking me, do you like watching movies? Yes, I do, very much so. Primarily horror movies. I like watching horror. I have a collection of movies on my computer. You name it, anything, everything from supernatural horror to creature feature. I prefer creature feature more. So horror movies about creatures that are either supernatural or just creatures attacking and killing people and all of that. Planes are dead cheap to the UK. Yeah, obviously, yeah, I can understand. I mean, obviously, I mean, come on. In Europe, flying is no different pretty much than taking the bus or a train. So yeah, it's dead cheap. It's only, I think, in euros, it's only a couple of €100. So it all depends on what airline company you prefer working with. Okay. Um, I prefer working with Royal Dutch Airlines. That's the official airline company of the Netherlands, KLM, shortened KLM. So, and I think for them, a ticket from here to the Netherlands and beyond is like what, 800 euros or something along those lines. Okay, whereas if I were in Europe, for example, from the Netherlands to the Czech Republic would be a couple of hundred euros, 300 euros or something. Pretty much all over Europe it's cheap, except places that aren't frequent. For example, a ticket to Latvia and countries like that are significantly expensive. Yeah, exactly. Okay, countries that not a lot of people visit. I'm assuming Cyprus too, Moldova, um, Ukraine a little less, um, Malta, Georgia. Yeah, these are places that people don't visit too often since they're not really well known. Lithuania is also one of them. But Lithuania is on the rise, as far as I can tell. Um, Homer Simpson is asking Annabelle whether I'm an Annabelle fan. No, I'm not an Annabelle fan because they made too many sequels and it just doesn't appeal to me. The jump scares and all of that crap are simply none of that works on me. So I'm just bored watching a movie like Annabelle. Annabelle, The Conjuring, you name it, with demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren. I'm not dissing them or I'm not undermining any of their work or anything like that, but no. They just and most occult movies don't appeal to me. No occult movie appeals to me pretty much. It has to be a ridiculously good movie. Has to be a ridiculously good movie to appeal to me. Let's see. There's another movie too. I think I already referred to it in a previous live stream. Hereditary about Paimon. Holy crap! Such a sack of shit. The Ride 2 with Bale. God, I hate it so much with Anthony Hopkins in the main role. The Ride. God, no exorcism movies or none of that. Okay, it's an insult to someone like me, a cultist, because I know what things are like in reality. Okay, and to most of us that are familiar with occultism, that's not how it works in real life. These movies are for people that don't know jack shit about the occult. Period. David B saying from Amsterdam to Prague, it's around 130 euros. Yeah, exactly. That my point exactly. Okay, I'm gonna show you. Hold on for a second. KLM. Hold on. I'm going to show you how much a ticket, David B, from Suriname to the Netherlands is like. We're talking about a one-way trip. Let's not make it expensive. A one-way trip from Paramaribo, Suriname's capital, to Amsterdam. It's just going to be a economy class. Okay, let's see the offers, and I'll show you how much it is. Come on, website load. I'm on the website of the KLM right now, Royal Dutch Airlines. I'll show you what the average price is at the moment, so you'll see for yourself what it is. David B, see for yourself this link from the KLM, and you'll see for yourself how much a ticket is from Suriname to the Netherlands alone. Ridiculous. Okay, ridiculous. I mean, look at the difference. But yeah, like I said, Suriname is a shithole that not a lot of people visit. So outbound flights, Suriname's local airline company, the SLM, Suriname Airways, only flies to 8 locations or something. And in Europe, Amsterdam is the only location that they visit. Yeah, damn, that's a lot. Exactly. $961. That's like 900 euros or something, or 950 euros. That's a lot. Believe me, when I was planning on moving for my ticket, it was a return ticket. So coming and going. Keep in mind, that's only a one-way trip. So if you want to return, it's a one-way trip alone, let alone if it were, okay, you'll go eat, you'll be back in a while. Yeah, sure, no problem. I might stop the live stream too after a while because I also need to go get myself something to eat. Yeah, in any case, it's only a one-way trip, so you can imagine, okay, a round trip would be $1,800. So yeah, in any case, that's just from here to the Netherlands. So yeah, when I left, I had to pay $2,500 for a round trip to wherever I was going to, via the Netherlands, and then from the Netherlands to there, and then coming back. In any case, yeah. Homer Simpson is asking me whether I've watched the new Spider-Man movie. No. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay, I want to refrain from watching new movies. Okay, I think it seems that horror is the only thing that's safe from. Not even horror is safe with a worthless movie like. I can't put my finger on it. Listen, in any case, the problem is that a lot of movies nowadays, with the whole liberal attitude, Hollywood has completely gone full-fledged liberal retard mode. So Hollywood has just lost its mind with the whole leftist propaganda, the whole liberal propaganda and social justice warriorness. And every movie, almost every movie nowadays is almost every movie nowadays is tainted by liberal bullshit. Okay, I'm not stomping on any liberal here, but I can't watch these movies. These movies are so bad because of the whole push narrative. I watched MIB, the new Men in Black International last, and the movie is just so bad. You can clearly tell that they deliberately said, "Hey, you know what? We're going to cast." The movie is called MIB, Men in Black. It's always Men in Black. It will always and it should always be Men in Black. But no, they just wanted to act the SJW. So what they did is that they literally just said, "Hey, you know what? We're going to cast not just a woman. We're going to cast a black woman as the lead of Men in Black." And God, the movie was just so bad. I watched it in a movie theater and I was like, no, 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 no. I was like, okay, no, I need to stop watching this kind of crap. I need to stop going to the movie theater and I need to be really frugal about new movies. I need to be really careful about new movies. Oh, Hank Hill says, hello, Morino. Happy to finally catch a live stream. I've always been curious about your take on traditional shamanism, ayahuasca ceremonies, and the spirits involved. I have no opinion on traditional shamanism. It's just the primitive version of magic. Okay, it's a primitive way of doing the same thing that I'm doing. Ayahuasca is a hallucinogen, as far as I know, and their ceremonies, primitive ceremonies, similar to voodoo ceremonies and all of that, or just ceremonies for spirits to summoned, or just primitive ways of communicating with spirits. They're more tribal-oriented, themed ways of doing of communicating with spirits. Yeah, and also, as you already know, most primitive cultures including cultures in which shamans are present or shamans thrive. They are they work primarily with elemental spirits, as far as I know, and with egregores and pagan gods. That's it. Google houses. Sorry about the bad grammar. No, it's okay. It's not a problem. I wasn't making fun of it. I just had brief difficulty reading it, so I didn't at first I didn't understand really what you were saying. I wasn't able to make it out, but I could conclude that hey, you're just asking about Baphomet. What about occult related books? Are there that you consider? Are there ones that you consider worth reading other than mentioned in your homepage? Occult related books? No, not really. I do have a book review in my. Aside from my articles, the books that I've mentioned, I'm assuming you're referring to that. Magic for Beginners, right? That's what the name of the article is. Magic for Beginners. Hold on for a second. This is in case you haven't read this yet. Here you go. That's the link to Magic for Beginners, and this is the link. The next link that I'll be sending you is of the playlist on my book reviews. I simply review books in that playlist. Hold up for a second. Let me just navigate to it. Come on, hurry up, load. Playlist. Where is it? Book reviews. Hold on for a second. General videos. Occult book reviews. Yeah, exactly. Occult book reviews. I am going to send you the link to this so you can see for yourself what books I've mentioned in it. This is also for you, Gukun House. This is the second link. You can just watch that playlist and you'll see for yourself which books I review and what I have to say about these books. Occult experience, a question about food offerings. Do you eat the offerings after the ritual or do you just let it go spoil? What do you do with the offerings after the ritual is done? If you offer food, occult experience, I have eaten food that's been offered in the past, but again, food that you offer is does have a tendency to go bad pretty quick because the energy is drawn from the food. So if you just offer a home cooked meal, if you just offer a home cooked meal, then yeah, the it is going to spoil ridiculously quick. Let's just say if it were to spoil only after 3 or 4 days, it will spoil in less than 24 hours on average. It will spoil in a day at most because the energy, astral energy, is automatically extracted from it by spirits when you offer them stuff like this. This goes for anything that you offer. Let's see. I don't eat it. You can eat it if you want to, but it's not advised to eat the offering after the ritual. Why would you? No. I just dispose of it. I used to dispose of it. This was back when I still offered. This was back when I still offered food. Okay, but it's not really necessary to offer food. You're better off offering something else, something that's more durable, and so on. But let's just say you don't have the money to do so, then yeah, you can still offer food as a backup option. Not even a worst case scenario. Let's see. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And after the ritual is done, you can just I just my way of operating, my mo, my method of operation was that I offered food. Let's just say if I offered food, I were to just dispose of it after a day or two, and after a day or two it would be rotten, completely rotten, and it would have already wasted away, and I simply disposed of it. You can simply dispose of it in any way that you deem fit. You can just, I don't know, throw it outside, do it whatever you want to. You can just throw it away in the garbage, whatever you want to do. But food is organic, so I advise you to simply throw it away. Okay, it's organic. Simply either throw it away in a yard or a specific area of your yard, assuming that you have a yard, or simply give it to stray dogs and cats or animals, you name it. That's practical. Or just if you have no other option than to do so, just throw it away with the generic garbage. That's all. But be advised that since it's prone to going bad, or it will already have gone bad, to double bag it, something like that. Okay. In any case, add extra covering so that it doesn't leak or anything. Otherwise, you'll be left with a mess. So yeah, that's to answer your question. Does anyone have any other questions? This will be the shortest live stream, I think, compared to my other live streams, which have lasted for hours on end, 5 hours. But if no one has any other questions, if I don't see any question pop up in 5 minutes from now, then I think I'm going to close off the live stream. So yeah, if you're going to shoot, then shoot. No problem, occult experience. He says thanks. If you're going to say something, say it now. If you're going to ask a question, ask it within 5 minutes. Thank you for answering my questions. Homer Simpson says, no problem, Homer Simpson. Santix Mendes Osis says, thanks and goodbye, no problem. I'm still here. Still here. Hank Hill has said, I've heard Samuel referred to as the true face of the devil. Could you explain what this actually means? I've never heard of this, Hank Hill, but it comes down to the same point that some people make. It simply misinformation. Okay, they see Samael is seen as Satan because he was referred to as the Ha-Satan. The Ha-Satan simply means the opposer. Samael is simply he that judges and opposes people in God's name. He opposes mankind in the sense that he's the original angel of death. Okay, Abaddon is also the angel of death, but different in a different way. My Lord Samael is the true angel of death. He's the true angel of death. and he, in the sense that he sends an emissary. The Grim Reaper falls under my Lord Samael. He comes to sever the ties between life and death when someone dies. So he metaphorically cuts the cord, or he sends the emissary that is the Grim Reaper that cuts the cord. And the whole saying that he is the Hasatan doesn't literally mean that he is Satan or that he's the devil. Nah, he's simply the only angel that is good as well as evil. The only angel that I know of the classical the seven rulers of the seven magical planets and the seven angels that stand in front of God, the archangels. He's the only one that is good as well as evil, in the sense that it is necessary, because Mars is good as well as evil. Mars's destructive side is a necessary evil. Something simply need to be destroyed, and sometimes pain and misery, more often than not, needs to be dished out. And yeah, that's his domain. So that's it. Homer Simpson is asking, does minute of birth affect your astrology or hour? It all depends, okay? If it's off by a minute, then no, not really. Let me just say this, okay? The more statements are incorrect, the further off you are, or the further away you are from your correct time of birth. So that means if you were born at 3 p.m. and you cast a chart for 4 p.m., then you'll notice, or you might notice that, for example, 70% of the statements in your natal description are correct, but that 30% isn't. That 30% isn't. So yeah, a minute will barely make a difference. 15 minutes even won't make a difference. But yeah, a couple of hours will definitely start to make a big difference. Okay. David B is saying regarding the Astro Group in AT. Regarding the Astro Group in AT, I don't know exactly what you mean by AT. I see many people crying and scream about their Saturn return, and again, I don't get it. LOL. Blah blah blah. Okay. Yeah, Saturn is the planet that deals. No, that's because Saturn deals with generally speaking, Saturn also deals with death and destruction, but from a different perspective. Saturn deals with necessary evils, for example, or the astro group that you're in or at. Okay. No, Saturn is also, that's why Saturn is called dark planet, and that's why the color that aligns with Saturn is black, and Saturn's number is 3. Yeah. So yeah, that's it relating to Saturn. Saturn is a dark, cold planet in the reality, literally, and it also represents that. Saturn deals with coldness and grimness, and so on. Okay, Saturn deals with necessary evils in the world, if you will. For example, necessary destruction, death, in the sense that you need to die. Saturn also positively deals with self-discipline. Saturn deals with the ability to overcome and weather hardship or endure hardship. You name it. That's why Saturn isn't the most popular of planets. It's ruled by the archangel Zadkiel. Saturn positively also deals with technology and whatnot, with Uranus in second place. That's why Saturn is the traditional ruler of Aquarius, and Aquarius deals with technology and also social life and all of that. David B says, when you mentioned the death, so when someone dies and is resurrected after 5 minutes max, isn't that cheating? No, it all depends on the system, okay? If that person was never meant to die, listen, you're never really dead until your astral body has been completely stripped away from your physical body alongside your soul. Mhm. That's when you officially die. I'm assuming that you're referring to when people are incorrectly pronounced dead clinically. That's because their heartbeat is so low that doctors don't register a beat anymore, or something similar. I mean, in medical, simply when someone refers to, in medical phrases or in medical terms, refers to someone as being clinically dead or clinically deceased or declared dead. That's not really dying, okay? That's just being a near death experience. But that's not cheating. You can't cheat that. That's it. You cannot cheat that, period. So yeah, keep going. Other questions, if there are any. Other questions, if there are any. Homer Simpson is asking, can you astral travel to heaven or hell? I think someone's already asked that question, or you already asked that question in a previous live stream. Yes, you can astral travel to heaven or hell, but there's limit. There's obviously a limit. You're restricted in how far you can go. You'll only be able to scratch the surface, but unless you've been given permissions by the angels that guard these locations, watchtowers and all. David B says because you have movies like Final Destination, etc. Yeah, I know, but again, those movies are just entertainment. That's all that they are. You can't cheat that. It's entertainment, David B. Reality is starkly different. You know that. Okay, these movies are only meant to entertain, but they don't give you a realistic take or look into. They don't give you a realistic. They don't give you any realistic picture or information, plausible information or practical information on that. Homer Simpson is asking me whether I've been to heaven. No, when I astral traveled, I only explored my immediate region. I explored the company that I work for, the building. I explored the apartment complex that I lived in and outside. That's it. And before I started exploring the elemental dimension, I mean the elements and the sphere of life. Before I started climbing the tree of life and death. David B says, "Yeah, lol. I just need to turn off my brain while watching movies like that." Nah, that's why I honestly I refrain from watching movies like that. Final Destination was okay, but because it doesn't really involve something occult wise heavily. But pieces of shit like The Right and Hereditary and so on, I just can't watch crap like that. Most of them, they just insult spirits, honestly. I mean, these spirits are happy that their names are still being mentioned. It's more popularity and promotion for them, promotional promo material for them. But but it just you'll immediately see a bunch of ignorant comments or statements about people that know nothing of these spirits. If it be says you said that you visited the tree of death and you didn't visit one sphere, why? Was it like unnecessary anymore? No, it wasn't necessary. Not that it wasn't necessary anymore. By that time, I was already moving on to actually committing to successful workings. I didn't commit myself to climbing a tree of life and death. This was back in the day when I still had difficulty summoning spirits, and achieving noteworthy results. So I just I just astral traveled for good measure to stay in shape, if you will, magical shape. But I didn't. It's not just one sphere I didn't visit it. That I didn't visit. I didn't manage to visit. I think I didn't manage to visit three spheres of the Tree of Death or something. Tomiel was one of them. Okay, I didn't visit a couple of them. I only visited I think five or six spheres on the sphere of death, on the Tree of Death. Sorry. So that's why. After that, once I just stopped because I was focused on making invocation work, and that's when I started getting results. So I just dropped astral travel altogether. Hank Hill is asking me, do you have any gnosis or info on previous civilizations that were on Earth? Was Atlantis real, and is there a reason these cycles in humanity occur? No, I don't know about Atlantis. I don't look into stuff like that because it's impractical for me personally. And the second question is there a reason these cycles in humanity occur? No. The existence in itself is cyclic. That's the way that God has created everything. That's why the sun rises and sets every day. The moon rises and sets. So many things in existence are a cycle. That's simply the way that God has created everything. God has created the world we know as we know it. That's why these cycles occur. Are you planning to astral travel to heaven? No, Homer Simpson. I am long done with astral traveling. The only time that I'll be astral traveling or will come close to it is when it's simply for educational purposes. When I teach other people that, hey, I'm going to astral travel. So yeah, that's it. Any other questions? David B is asking me, would you agree that intention is the most important thing? For example, when I did the boneless ritual and with all that those pronunciations, they weren't pronounced correctly, but my intention was strong. Yes, that's I clearly mentioned that in the video I did on the boneless ritual. It doesn't matter if you made a mistake. Your intent is important. Your intent. You don't have to pronounce everything. You should obviously do your best to pronounce everything correctly, but even if you didn't do so, that's okay. Okay, your intent is important. Homer Simpson, sorry for asking questions. You must be hungry. No, not really. I do feel a bit hungry, but that's okay. Not really. Only 10% hunger here. So yeah, like I said, as long as people keep asking questions, I'll keep the stream going within a span of a minute or five or so. If no one replies, or if no one gives me any answer, or if no one gives me any question in a minute, then I don't see the point in continuing. So it can be brought to the general scale. So whether it's any ritual or even real life, intent is the most important thing. Yes, exactly. Intent is the most important thing. Of course, a ritual should have some basic logical thought processes behind it. You can't just go pluck grass all of a sudden alongside of the street and start throwing it at an intersection and expect results just because you intend for results to happen. No, you should still follow basic outlines regarding a ritual. Santix Menesosis says, I think the boneless ritual works with me for a college test. I just read it the way you said it. Yes, exactly. I already explained everything in that video, people, on the boneless ritual. I don't mind the questions, okay? The boneless ritual, the beauty of it is that it works for people that aren't even proficient in the occult. All you need to do is just pronounce it. And the thing is that the ritual as a whole, that the whole citation, the thing that you say, has been strengthened due to repeated use over time, and it goes a good way ago, a good while back, even to the medieval times. I'm being told, and the reason that results occur is because reciting the boneless ritual simply attracts elemental spirits primarily. Like I said, I think aerial spirits or whatever spirits I mentioned in a boneless ritual. Simply consult the article or the video. In any case, it attracts primarily elemental spirits from one specific element, and these spirits, I think, air, and these spirits see to results. Jason Hill, hi. Jason Dunn, hi. I have to go out for a while. When do you think we will have access to the occult course you mentioned within the next month? Yeah, definitely. I'm doing my best in any case, but yeah, I'm obviously going to do it as quick. I'm going to get to it as quickly as possible. Of course, I'm all the while taking my good time with things at my own pace. But a month, yeah, I think I should be done in a month, within the next month, or at the very latest, the following month, August. But no, you can expect it as quickly as possible in any case. The Astro course, I was busy with that for 2 weeks to 3 weeks before, not even 2 weeks. I was busy with that for a week and a half before I was able to publish and present it to you guys. So the occult course, by the way, I think the occult course is going to cost $2,000. The occult course will be a bit more elaborate because I also need to get implements. For example, when showing you guys how to scry, I need to get a mirror and everything again. I literally need to go through everything again. So that might take longer. That's what will make it take longer. But yeah, so we'll see. But as quickly as possible in any case. Oh, David B says, so when I had a conversation with a religious person, he said the intent is not important. I just pray to get a higher chance to heaven. No, no. Okay. A lot of old people do that too. They just go to church for the sake of good measure because they're already old and they're sensing death coming near. But intent is important too, okay? When it comes to prayer, you should pray correctly. Intent is in everything. Pray exactly like the Bible states you should pray, the New Testament. Keep the rules in check, and that's all. But a prayer done with your own words is a blasphemous prayer. Doesn't matter what your intent is. So yeah, that is something different altogether when it comes to prayer. Santix Menes also says, can you modify it? For example, I use it in Azazel's name. Yeah, you can modify it, sure, as long as you don't deviate too much from the original material. Otherwise, it will lose its potency. But I don't see any reason for modifying it, to be honest, other than the fact that you simply Azazel appears to you. If you want, if you want Azazel in your life, you can just write a normal citation to Azazel, or I can write a better one for you and consecrate it, and um, and that will have that will be more effective in terms of communicating with Azazel. Homer Simpson says, for two people astral travel, can they meet in the astral plane? Yes, but it depends on a number of factors, okay? Whether both people are aligned well and all of that. Jason Dunn says, that's a good price. Yes, that is a good price. I agree. Hank Hill says, in a few videos you've had, you show your altar rooms. Are the chairs for you or the spirits? The chairs are for me to sit in. Would setting up an altar to a spirit you haven't had formal contact with be disrespectful or wrong? No, it doesn't. That doesn't matter really. If you want to work with the spirit, you should not. It doesn't matter whether you've seen the spirit before or you've already had contact with him. The altar in itself is serious contact. It's similar to calling a place where you want to order food as an inquiry, in the sense of, hey, how much does that cost and what is your menu comprised of or composed of? And actually immediately calling to a place that you've never called before and just ordering something right away. It's the latter one is better for business as well as overall. So that doesn't really matter. Santix Minnesota says, thanks for the advice. No problem. David B says, regarding the bornless ritual, if a person doesn't have well developed astral senses, does it play a role? No, no, and again, no. That's why I said any person can do it, even someone that's not proficient in the occult. Someone that knows nothing of the occult can recite the bornless ritual, and yeah, things will start happening. The Jakes 2009 says some black magicians claim that the left-hand path is the best path for self-ascension. Like you, I prefer working with angels for ascension. What's your take on it? No, these black magicians are simply they're simply biased, and they're buying into the whole so-called narrative. They're buying into the delusion that since they're black magicians and they like working with demons, evil, and all of that crap, that automatically the left-hand path is the way to go. No, it's like climbing the tree of life and the tree of death. All of them, both paths lead to the same outcome, or they lead to the same path. But the difference is that the other path, the left-hand path, is more dangerous. It is a shorter path, but it is a more dangerous one that carries more risks with it, and that will take a tremendous toll on you. But when it comes to general self-ascension, angels are the way to go. Okay, working with demons are good for the short term, for short-term goals in general. I mean, there are exceptions, of course. It's not all black and white, Belial being one of them. But generally speaking, infernal spirits, no, they're only good for short-term work and not good for long-term work. There's a high probability or a high chance of them causing you misfortune, significant misfortune in the long run. Not because they want to or that they mean you ill will or harm. It's simply because they that's just the way they work. It's part of their personality. It comes with the territory. It comes with bringing you positive results. David B says, I think it's like that black magic is cool and the dangerous entities are cool. So that's why, yes, of course. That's why Satan is well known, and other prominent angels are not known to the average person. The average person knows who Satan or Lucifer is in the sense of, oh, that's the devil, isn't it? But ask one of them who Samael is, or who Michael is, or who Raphael is, and they have little to no clue, or less people have a clue at least. For self ascension, which angels would you recommend, Jason Dunn? I have a real affinity to Metatron. It all depends on who appeals to you. All the angels can teach you to self ascend, more or less. Yeah, all the angels, uh, all the angels are good for self ascension. Honestly, all of them are good for self ascension. It all depends on which one appeals to you and which one is will be most effective in your life. That's it. Okay, so yeah, so that's it pretty much. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, okay? I am now I'm 60% hungry. So yeah, This is going to be the last question that I'll be answering. After that, I'm going to get myself something to eat and I'm done. Oh, this is live stream number 4, and compared to the other ones, it is the shortest live stream, but that's okay. That's okay. I primarily just hosted the live stream for further elaboration on the e-course that I published, the astrological e-course, and other general miscellaneous questions as usual. I'd like to say in advance until the next live stream, and that's it. So bye to all of you, and let me finish up by answering these 2 last questions. David B says, is there a possibility that a spirit can choose you like to work with? Yes, that's possible, but that spirit, generally speaking, will approach you in a dream or similar, you name it. Jason Dunn says, my life path is 5, so perhaps even Lord Samuel can do so for me. Yes, perhaps. It all depends. Gukun House says, thanks for Morino for all the answers. Links in the stream, no problem. David B says, I thank you too and have a nice meal, no problem. Sam Tix Mendoza says, bye. Jason Dunn says, bye too. Homer Simpson says, thank you. Bye to all of you guys. Hank Hill is asking, what's the best way to catch these live streams? Do you announce them beforehand? No. Listen, Hank Hill, I've already said this, but you came on later. That's why you didn't hear it. If you want to catch, this accounts for everyone. I'm going to say this one last time. Okay? No disrespect or offense intended to anyone. If Jason Dunn, great day to you too. If you want to catch my live stream, not only subscribe to my YouTube channel, but click the bell notification icon next to the subscribe button. Once you click that, you'll immediately be notified by email or by the YouTube application you have on whatever device you're using, whether it be computer, iPad, or mobile phone. Whenever I do a live stream or whenever I post a new video or publish a new video or put out any other new video material, you'll immediately get a notification. So again, click the bell icon, click the bell button next to the subscribe button. Don't just subscribe to me, also click the bell icon if you want notifications. So that's it. Okay, and yeah. So yeah, that's it. Bye to all of you guys, and see you guys later. Sayonara, and until next live stream, until next video, or until next time. Bye. I'm signing off.